What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm something of a Diggins myself.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo-hoo! This week, it's Spider-Man No Way Home, the third one in that movie trilogy. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk a lot about it. Very excited.
Probably for minimum 3 hours, if I know us.
I mean, 2.5 hour movie, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a really long movie, so I'd be worried about this one.
Oh, no. I should have eaten dinner beforehand. It's okay.
You guys will see, you guys will see how long this is when you turn it on, listener.
If you're not aware how podcasts work, we're speaking to you from the past, from your past. Relative to you. So therefore, we have already recorded this podcast by the time you're listening to it. We're not just, setting up a live feed direct to your ear and saying this in real time. So
exactly.
You already know how long we've spoken for and whether or not it was 3 hours.
That's true, DJ. We did used to do that.
Yeah, remember when we did... Remember Meerkat?
Nope.
Oh my
God.
No
one does. It's all
Does
dead.
Meerkat still exist?
No. But... we were on that platform, we did live podcasts, and they sent us a t-shirt.
Yeah, I remember being on Meerkat. I was on a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, because it was like, there was Meerkat and there was Periscope.
Yep.
And Periscope won
Neither made
handily, and then they both died, yeah.
Yeah, like, we picked the wrong one to start, and then it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, I want to say... Periscope get bought by Twitter? I don't know. Who cares? All the companies are owned by 5 companies.
Yeah.
Periscope is now a division of Yum Brands or something.
And long form live streaming, unless you're on Twitch, didn't really go anywhere. So
hey, some people do podcast live shows on the internet, though. I mean, it's in theory something we could still do.
But then we wouldn't be able to edit out all the stupid things we say.
Yeah,
all the really bad slurs we use.
Exactly, yeah.
So many slurs. It's amazing we got away with it in our Meerkat days. Just slurs upon slurs. No one ever said anything.
Speaking of slurs, we got to talk about the chit-chat of the week, Harry Potter thing.
Oh, my God.
Fantastic Crimes of Grindelwald, Part 2, Dumbledore's Secrets.
Yeah,
back,
the
baby.
Fantastic Secrets of Dumbledore this time.
Whatever. Yeah, I guess so. They're making it again, baby. It's a third one. We watched the trailer.
Against
What'd you
the
guys
demands
think?
of the entire viewing public, in the face of the overwhelming desire to not see any more of these movies, even by actual Harry Potter fans, who I'm not sure I've ever seen any of them who even like it. They are making a third one of those movies.
Yeah, I actually looked it up because I was researching something else. 2018, there were 6 movies that made $1 billion or something like that. It's 6 movies that opened over 200 million. 5 of them made $1 billion. Fantastic Crimes of Grindelwald made 600 million, which is so far behind those other ones. It's not even funny, but it really is people were tricked and then they found out it was bad and then no one wanted to watch it anymore. That works,
That's the way it goes.
But there's a new Harry Potter thing too, besides Fantastic Secrets of Dumbledore. It's some sort of reunion special they're doing too. Has anyone seen anything
of the first movie that they put on HBO Max?
What is it? Is it like the Friends one where they all sit around?
Yeah, they got Rupert Grint. They got Emma Watson.
Rupert Grint. He was such a hard get. He's out there every day hustling and grinding on the streets of Hollywood. God, when the last time you saw a movie that doesn't have Rupert Grint in it? Am I right?
Did they not get Harry Potter himself, whatever his name is, Daniel Radcliffe?
They got Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, okay. Good for him.
I was just burying the lead, I didn't want to, I didn't want to, put it out there to begin with,
Well, Emma Watson, also a big get.
Yeah, honestly, she's a bigger get at this point.
Well, who played Hagrid? What's that guy up to?
Robbie Coltrane? I think he's still just kind of, character actor in Europe or England or whatever. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of the smaller actors in Harry Potter are probably Star Trek and Star Wars actors where they just eat out on that for the rest of their life.
Oh my God, right? Yeah, just go to every fucking convention you can.
Hey, I don't even mean that like meanly. Like, I respect it, you know? You did one thing, and then that's how you make your money for the rest of your life. I'm all for it.
Diggins is jealous, as a matter of fact.
Honestly, yeah, I am.
You could be in these movies now. They were in America for one movie, but now they're not. But you could be like, I don't know, somebody's American friend. You could be the brother of whatever, the one who's not a wizard but has a wand now or something.
You mean that no-mage?
Yeah. What's his deal? How can he do magic? What does his wand even do?
Dumbledore gave him a special wand that, like... You know what the problem is? There's no source material, so we have no idea to know how these things are.
Does he do any magic in that trailer, or does he just have a wand?
He has a wand, but there's no way he has a wand and does no magic. That would be the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
So it would not be out of place in any of these Fantastic Beasts movies, is what you're saying.
It's a great point, Diggins.
Yeah, that's probably what it'll be. It'll be like a Dumbo feather kind of thing, where he'll be brave.
Or it'll be something. Like, that's the Elder Wand that Dumbledore is trying to hide from Grindelwald. And so it's like, because you're a big fantasy racist, Grindelwald, you never thought that the stinking no-mage would have the Elder Wand.
Yeah, doesn't this Grindelwald already have the Elder Wand? This is how bad these movies are. I have no idea what happens.
Oh, same. I'm gonna have to like rewatch them or something. I too have no idea.
I've never seen the second one. I do know that at one point we see the Jacob, I think is the guy's name, the no-mage.
That's right.
Like hugging his girlfriend / wife from the first movie, who I'm pretty sure ends the second movie joining the fascist movement. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
Oh my God, she's insane, because she also in the first or second one has like done a spell so that he's basically like constantly in love with her and doesn't know where he is and stuff for like a very long period of time. When we meet him, that's what he's been up to. So, you know, she's not great. Yeah. But yeah, her name I think is Queenie. God, some of this stuff is coming back to me. Now, the trailer has them introduce themselves, or like there's the bit where the character that I believe is Newt's brother is going like, all we've got is a this and a this and a this. And I am so hard pressed to remember who any of those people are.
The classic bit. I think he calls the female lead in all of these movies his Newt's assistant at one point.
Yes.
Which, you know, you'd think thered be some correcting the record on that. But fortunately, for all the people out there who I know were clamoring for this, she doesn't say a single goddamn word this entire trailer. Nor does any woman besides a small child at the very end.
Well, that's a good point, because the female lead in this, I don't think... Is she even in it? The old female lead was like some sort of cop or something. And I'm pretty sure she survived the last movie. But his assistant is a character in the second one who's like some meek little redhead girl or something that's like, oh, no, you're so cool and sexy. But I'm also maybe like kind of a family member. It's complicated. But I don't know what happened to the other actress.
She was in Aurora, right? That's what they're called?
That's right, yeah.
Aurora, yeah.
But like, is she even in this one? Did she cancel for reasons that would make complete sense?
Right? Catherine Waterston.
Yeah, maybe. That could be.
I'm seeing her on the cast list.
I didn't even realize she was barely in the trailer.
What's her billing? Is she like high billing?
Yeah. She's like...
Or is she at like the bottom?
She's near the top.
She's...
Maybe she dies pretty quickly or something.
Oh.
Yeah,
but canonically, Nando, her and Newt get married, so she can't die.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
How do we know this? How do we know they get married?
They have a kid.
Oh.
There is a Goldstein in in Hogwarts at some point. I know this because, like a child in closer to the recent time, because Joe very helpfully pointed out that she did in fact make a wizard Jewish at some point before these guys existed, and she said it was the Goldstein one. But I don't think that character like ever does anything, but their name is written in the book at one point, so...
I think it's actually even worse than that. I don't think that character is in the book.
Really?
I think it's just like someone tweeted at her, like, can there be a Jewish wizard? And she's like, Emmanuel Goldstein, Hufflepuff, year 4, or whatever.
Oh my God.
And like just made him up on Twitter.
Jesus.
Cool.
I mean, like, I don't understand how these religions exist in the Harry Potter verse at all, but...
Well, I mean...
I know, right?
Magic is secret, so, like, for all the no-mages out there, it would make sense that they just have religions.
Oh, sure. I mean, what does the Jewish wizard believe about magic? Did they believe that, like, you know...
Like it comes from God?
Yeah, that it comes from a God that no one else believes it comes from? Like, is that something...
Well, no, that God just doesn't bless no mages with magic because they are not worthy.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's how Jewish theology would term it, considering Judaism as a non-evangelical religion believes that to be one of God's chosen is a burden and a responsibility, not necessarily... Like, it's good, and, you know, you should be proud that you are one of God's chosen, but it is not, like, an easy thing.
That's fair.
Like, would Jewish and Christian wizards, do they think that, like, Moses was a wizard?
Oh my God, was Moses a wizard?
Like, doing magic through God, or like God was doing magic through him, but like Moses, because he even had a big stick thing in some of the movies, at least. So, is that the proto wand?
Could be, you know?
I don't know.
I think there's we should get in touch with the Rowling estate and see if we can
let's ask them.
Get to write some officially authorized Harry Potter spin-offs about the Great Wizard Moses. And perhaps, if that one does well, we can write one about the Great Wizard Jesus.
Well, I was going to say, you know how, like, sometimes people will say, like, you know, I believe Jesus existed, but he wasn't, like, the son of God. He was just some charismatic guy. Do you think there's, like, that, like, I would guess it would have to be Jewish wizards who are like, yeah, you know, I believe Jesus was, like, a powerful wizard, but he wasn't, like, the son of God. But he did, like, do all that stuff he says he did, just, like, with magic, and not, like... Because that distinction would be a very hard one to draw. It's like, I don't know how he did his miracles, but they did happen.
More powerful than Dumbledore.
Joe, come on, get on this.
Oh, God.
Yeah, if there's one thing J.K. Rowling should definitely do, it's just wade right in the middle of, say, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and just start making up some Harry Potter wizards about it.
I'm gonna guess who the bad ones would be. I'm like 90% sure I could write this book for her if she doesn't want to, and I'd still get her stamp of approval. Yeah. Oh, she's cool. Nah, she's worst.
Oh my God.
You guys, speaking of, let's see.
Speaking of
powerful magicians, wizards and such.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about this week's movie, Spider-Man No Way Home?
I would love to.
Okay, let's do it. You guys, Spider-Man No Way Home came out the other day or something, whatever, who knows. Some countries are back in lockdown, so they don't have it, but most people have it, so that's something. Some people even had it earlier than the US because I don't know. I don't know how they decide this, but yeah, for most people I think it came out on the 17th or something like that.
Well, they just had they had gathered up enough good boy points over the course of the past year that they could spend them at the Disney Store to get an early release for Spider-Man. The Disney Store is just what you call kind of like the international media market now because it's basically just the Disney Store.
All stores are the Disney Store. The pizza place, the Walmart, they're all kind of the Disney Store.
Yeah, well, Walmart Plus, that's the, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very difficult to spend money in America and not have it end up back at Disney somehow.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
The Chapman family knows this lesson all too well.
That's right.
We are just mules to get Disney more money.
Well, that's how Disney views most people. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be so lucky to be a mule in their eyes. There are far lower classes of people. That's like the A+ tier is mule. Yeah. Vermin is probably where I sit or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or leech or something because I feed off the Disney teat.
Oh yeah, you make money off it, so you're the worst thing possible.
Yeah. But you guys, we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, a co-production of Sony and Disney because these are confusing. I think it's just mostly a Sony one, but whatever. DJ, you were in charge of the IMDb spelling bee?
Yes, I have the IMDb, and as everyone knows, that I graded very fairly last week, and definitely didn't give it to Diggins because him and I have some sort of weird agreement. No one should insinuate that ever.
That was 2 weeks ago, because last week I was judging and I gave it to you, and that's why you're judging again.
Right. No, but that's what I'm saying is that. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. What I meant to say is, Diggins and I don't have any kind of weird agreement, so him picking me is, if I were to pick him, that would just be a coincidence. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying this ahead of time.
It would just be because of how good I am at the game.
Yeah, not because we have any kind of, untoward agreement. No one should think that. No one should think that. So with that being said, Nando, you get to pick who goes first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Set after the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter Parker attempts to use a spell to erase the public knowledge that he is Spider-Man. But, change. Peter Parker gets help from Doctor Strange to create a spell to wipe everyone's memory. But that spell goes wrong, and enemies from different multiverses show up to threaten Spider-Man's entire life.
Okay.
All right. We kind of fell at the finish line there, but you get the gist.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Diggins.
I'm going to take a different tack on this one. The latest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man No Way Home, brings together all of your favorite villains and heroes from all the Spider-Man movies of the past.
So, Diggins, I wish you had given me more so I could have illegitimately given you the victory, but unfortunately you had like 0% of it, and Nando had, or like you had 2% of it, and Nando had like 10% of it. So Nando gets it.
Incredible.
Nando gets it.
These things
you
happen.
both were way off.
We got to keep up appearances, right, DJ? Wink.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Nando said so many things that he at least got some of them.
Yeah. Great stuff.
So there is a key piece here that would have definitely given it to you guys, and I'm going to read it, and it's how it starts. So the summary begins, with Spider-Man's identity now revealed, Peter asks Doctor Strange for help. When a spell goes wrong, dangerous foes from other worlds start to appear, forcing Peter to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man.
How did I get 10%? I feel like mine was great.
Yeah, that was
besides
pretty
that
good,
beginning part and that last part, I think I was on point.
I mean, you said that Peter did the spell, which was interesting, but I guess you had Doctor Strange and the spell. You also said people enemies from other multiverses, not foes from other worlds. Listen, you got the win. You got the win. I don't know what these complaints are.
I still am the Cyber Ninjas. You'll hear from them in the next couple of days.
The Cyber Ninjas will tell you that, yes, indeed, you definitely won.
Yeah, they'll take the hard drives and, I don't know, put them in a truck.
But even after all that, they'll be like, yeah, the guy who they said won.
That's right.
And possibly by even more than what was said.
That's right.
That's dastardly.
That's why you hire the Cyber Ninjas, to find more votes for the person who did in fact win, who in this case was me.
Yeah.
Fair
enough.
Great stuff. Well, that means I get to go first. Spider-Man Far From Home.
You got
No Way Home. It was great.
Man, these last two titles of these Spider-Man movies,
it's
not
awful.
great.
It's awful.
It's like, if it was just Go Home or something, if it wasn't word home specifically, I think I'd be able to do it. But it's Spider-Man Far From Home, No Way Home. It's crazy.
Well, the first one was Homecoming, right? So it was just that's its own thing. But yeah, these two are not feeling it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the home thing is weird and dumb. I don't know who specifically likes it at Sony or Marvel and why it has continued. But that would be fine if this one was called, I don't know, what would I call this one? I don't know. It can't be Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six.
I mean, if you had to incorporate the home, I don't hate Spider-Man Goes Home, or not Goes Home, but Spider-Man No Home Tomorrow, No Time to Die Home.
Yeah.
Don't die at home. I don't know.
Brand New Home. I don't know. But either way, the title is the worst part of the movie because everything else is perfect. No, it's pretty good. I liked it. I think it was good. It was better than I was expecting by a lot. All the things that we won't spoil it now, but all the things that we thought would be in it, that were in it, and they were all pretty good. And the parts that you didn't expect were also pretty good, and all the villains were good, except for maybe two. But all of the ones that mattered were good, and the fights were good, and at the end, the ending is interesting. The beginning is fine. I don't know. It's good. It's a good movie. I got nothing else to say about that. What about you, Diggins? What'd you think of this Spider-Man No Way Home?
Listen, I regret to inform my fans, those of you who amongst me who like me on this podcast for some reason, it is with a heavy heart that I tell you that I liked this movie.
Oh shit!
Exactly.
Oh,
yep.
What? What?
The coldest hearts have been thawed by this movie.
I am in shock. I'm standing away from the mic.
His Marvel heart grew 3 sizes today.
Merry Christmas, everybody! Oh my god!
Listen, there's some stuff there's some thematic stuff I'm not crazy about, and there's some MCU type stuff about it that I don't love. But this is the first MCU Spider-Man movie, or the first MCU movie with Spider-Man in it. Period. Where I like walked away feeling like, yeah, they get who Spider-Man is.
Wow. Holy bejeebers.
I really was expecting to not like it because, A, I don't really like the Tom Holland Spider-Man era very much. It's better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which are total garbage. And these movies are not total garbage, but I think they have a lot of problems and I'm not a huge fan. But this one, it has that, and then also, I really felt like the using for old movies, multiverse stuff was going to be just everything I hate about nostalgia mining. But they actually use that stuff really well. And it, in fact, lets them inject the things I like about the Raimi movies and the fact that Andrew Garfield is a good actor into this movie and, strengthen it that way. And I don't know, they got to a real core of things that I think makes it work in a way that none of the other Tom Holland Spider-Man movies or bits in MCU movies have. So yeah, I actually like this movie. It's not my favorite Spider-Man movie ever, but it's pretty good.
DJ, what about you?
I am in shock and disbelief. I feel like I have to just change my opinion. Like, it's not fun for me to be like, yeah, it was great. I really like this movie. If I'll give like my not different take, but my take on it, I thought that, much like Diggins, I thought that this could have been really bad because I think what they had to do was a difficult task. And while not executed perfectly, I thought it was executed quite well. I thought the humor was really good. I thought the length was mostly appropriate. I thought the asides were good. A couple of extraneous things, which we'll talk about, but mostly an earned success that I wasn't convinced they were going to get. My meter has been like way off. I was like, guys, Eternals is going to be so good. Like, they're really going to get it. Like, it's going to be a really cool Marvel movie. So I was wrong on that. But yeah, I just really enjoyed what this movie brought to the table. Just like I guess a quick like personal my theater experience. I was telling Diggins and Nando before we started recording, I had like a really good movie theater experience, and one of the things that was great. So I went Friday night, and I got those tickets the Monday they were available. So I was pretty sure that this theater was going to be all fans, and it wasn't like all the applause is in the right spots. Like, this was the first movie that felt like an event since Endgame, like with the applauses and just like everyone getting hype and like just like shouting, like not like shouting out like really, but just being like, oh my god, just like when the tension gets really high. It just made the whole experience really, really good. So loved this movie. Loved it.
Wow. One of the
We all
shortest
did it.
podcasts ever.
Podcast.
Yep.
Bye. We love you. Bye.
That's my line.
Sorry.
I don't know what. All right, so let's talk about this movie. We're gonna not
Let's talk
try
about
to
this movie.
spoil it, but we're gonna go in order. So
That's
you know,
gonna be hard. But
well, if you want like if you've seen the trailers, there's like one beginning spoiler that is not a spoiler because everyone saw it coming from a mile away, and then there's a couple of end spoilers that happen around the middle that I would say are like legitimate, like, you know, kind of spoilers. And just like the vibe of the movie is a little different than you might expect halfway through. But, you know, so you probably saw this movie, though. Most people saw it. It's a very popular movie. Made
Disney's
$100 bazillion.
Disney's trying to pretend that we don't all know who the actors in this movie are for some goddamn reason. You know who's in this movie. Like, don't expect surprises on the cast. You know who's in the movie.
Yeah. In fact, expect negative surprises from some cast members specifically. We'll get to it, but like, it's pretty interesting how they managed to do some cameos in ways that you're like, okay, I guess you guys were just out of money. I guess there was no money for this guy. But
The weird thing is, well, for some of them, they are there, but they do them in a way where they didn't have to be, and I'm like, what was the point of this?
yeah, and like, it's so strange. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, okay, so we all kind of agree, at least me and Diggins for sure. I forget. I don't know where DJ stands on this.
Did I not agree?
That Far From Home is not very good. And in the end, specifically with him being unmasked as Spider-Man, I remember seeing that and being like, this is going to not be good. Like, this is a negative thing for this character in terms of like
agree with that.
how it will add to the movie. And it really didn't matter. I mean, it mattered, but like, it wasn't like the plot of the movie, which is good.
Well, a lot of things about this movie only matter as far as they're useful, and then they stop mattering immediately.
Yeah. It
Yes.
feels very much like the director of this one, who happens to be the director of the last one too. So I don't know. I want to look at the writing team, because I would say I was very impressed with this one and the other ones, considering they're all by the same guy. This isn't like a Thor Ragnarok situation where the franchise was handed off to someone completely different, and they made one that people liked in spite of the originals. Like, this was John Watts, who, you know, made No Way Home, made Homecoming. And like, but I don't know about you, it felt very much to me like they gave it to a new guy who was like, okay, we're going to get rid of all the things that last guy did because they're all bad, and we're going to make my movie instead. It's written by, so it's directed by John Watts, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Now let's see if they wrote the first one, or like this, let's say the second one, because I'd say the first like Homecoming I think is pretty good. I like Homecoming.
I think Homecoming is better than Far From Home, but still not very good.
So they also are the same writers from Far From Home. What happened?
I
really
Kevin
think
Feige beat them up in like a locker or something. Did they take him to the broom closet and beat him?
Kevin Feige doesn't care. Those movies made a ton of money, so he's like, keep doing what you're doing, pals. No, I think a part of me feels like being forced to include Raimi verse Spider-Man stuff just magically forced them to make a better story.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's be honest here. The Amazing Spider-Man stuff is here, but other than Andrew Garfield being an actor, like, they don't really use any of it. They're just kind of there. It's all built on the Raimi stuff, is the main
Disagree
point.
slightly.
But I mean, like, the main villains of this movie are Doc Ock and Green Goblin.
Yeah, no, I don't mean that. I think there are things about Garfield's Spider-Man specifically that are baked into this movie that isn't just, oh, we got, you know, the actor as Spider-Man, ta-da. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this movie did a good job with Jamie Foxx. However, I feel like they could have started here with him. And like, if you hadn't seen Spider-Man or Amazing Spider-Man 2 and you just kind of knew that he was a character named Electro, that would be fine. And I don't think they, like, page one rewrote that character, but I do think that they went like, okay, we're going to just ignore all of the things people don't like about him and pretend he's, you know, the character that clearly would have worked in this movie. But
I think there's two things specifically with Garfield Spider-Man that hinges on stuff that happens in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Specifically the climax of that movie.
Right.
If I could say this coded without saying exactly what happens. I think there's some emotional stuff that, like, if you hadn't seen that, then you'll be like, oh, I don't get why this is so highly charged.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm not talking about moments, though. I'm talking about, like, the backbone structure of the movie itself is dependent on Doc Ock and Green Goblin in a way in which it is not dependent on any Amazing Spider-Man stuff.
All right, it's fair enough. Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they do become... All the Amazing Spider-Man goons are just like goons, pretty much just like enforcers. But yeah, so let's talk about, okay, so yeah, we'll talk about why the movie was good, or maybe we'll figure it out as we go along in spite of the other ones.
There's a lot to cover.
Or maybe we'll figure out that the movie is bad.
Maybe we will.
Oh, maybe. Because we always say, how did you feel about this? Well, the how did you feel about crosses like 17 things.
Yeah.
Again, because of like the actors and everything, and yeah.
So remember how in the beginning of the movie they're trying to get into college?
Yeah.
Why is Peter... I guess Peter's having such a hard time getting into college because he is Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Why is Peter Parker having such a hard time explaining the Mysterio thing to people?
I mean, well, remember, this had like just happened, right? Like the way the movie is set up is that Mysterio happened like yesterday.
Right.
So, but like how does he explain it away? Oh, he was using... like not like magic, because that's actually a thing in MCU. He was using like mirrors and shit to trick everyone, and that's why you all think that I killed him, but I didn't kill him.
He wasn't even using mirrors. He was using deceptive video editing, a thing that exists in real life.
Right. Yeah. Like I don't know.
So you wanted him to say that?
I mean, I just don't I want him to be like, there's a part of me that wants Spider-Man to be like, I don't know what you guys thought happened on that bridge, but you saw me jump in and stop it, right? Like, where was Mysterio during all of it? Like, of course, he was the bad guy for it. Look at what he's dressed as. He's dressed in a CGI suit in the video he sent you. Doesn't that tell you something about maybe what his whole deal was?
I don't feel like Spider-Man's mode is to like start poking holes and why things are bullshit.
I guess I wanted Spider-Man to defend himself a little bit, and because it's like, I don't want him. I guess like when they okay, well we'll get to it. But yeah, he's in trouble.
I think maybe our first surprise cameo of the movie.
Yeah,
I think perhaps Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox from the Netflix show. Whoa, said all that stuff for him in court, and the movie just didn't show it because it is extremely uninterested in this plot line, actually, and very quickly moves on.
Yeah. Also, we did get a much more interesting cameo to me and certain people when one of the Succession guys was that cop who's like grilling them all. That was interesting.
Well, that's not a cameo. That's just like an actor was in the movie.
That's like what a cameo is.
Well,
it's like a small part for an actor in a movie.
Well, that's not an actor. It's a character. Right?
I mean, it's not a cameo if you just cast an actor as a character who happens to have a small part.
I thought that's what the word cameo means.
A cameo is you include them specifically for the reason of people being able to go like, oh, it's them.
I thought in this context, it's like... there are MCU characters crossing over their, like how Doctor Strange has a cameo in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, so I feel like the word cameo has kind of been mangled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it did used to just mean like a significant actor showing up for a small role, like Alec Baldwin in, the Glengarry Glen Ross, where it's just
that's not a cameo. That has never been a cameo.
That's absolutely a cameo.
No, he's just in that movie.
But that's what a cameo is. It's a small part in a movie.
No, a cameo is when you are cast as like a nod to people or a way for people to be like, oh, hey, look, they're in that movie. Like if you were in an older version of that movie or if you have some relation to it in real life, they include you so people be like, oh, it's that guy. A cameo isn't just you're in a movie, because then everything's a cameo.
But it's like a small part.
It's like how they put the guy from the original Longest Yard in the Adam Sandler Longest Yard movie. Burt Reynolds. It's like Burt Reynolds in the Longest Yard.
But he's a character.
It does
But like he was in the original Longest Yard.
it does mean a small part. Like a cameo is small by definition, but it's not just a person is in a small role. It is a person is put in a small role as a nod or a reference to something about them and their relation to this thing.
I disagree, kind of.
All right, listeners, tell us what you think a cameo is.
Like, I'm looking at a list of cameos, and it's like Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers, and, Bill Murray in Zombieland. And it's like just a small, memorable role by someone, just someone. Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she's all that. Like, there's other ones where it's like Neil Patrick Harris and Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Like, that one's a little bit more meta, but I don't know. Like, there's different kinds of cameos.
They're going to say, like, Neil Patrick Harris in The Matrix.
Ugh. Don't even get me started. You'll see. You'll all see. Anyway, here's the thing about the Succession guy that bugged me. Remember when he said that Nick Fury was off planet?
Yeah.
How does he know that?
Yeah. Is it, like, public knowledge? I don't know.
Yeah.
Does everyone know Nick Fury's off planet?
Yeah, he's just like, I guess he's a federal agent, right? He's not just like NYPD.
Yeah, so maybe the government knows.
But like, who do people think the Nick Fury that's running around doing Spider-Man stuff is in Not Far From Home? Because he's like going to places.
That's true. The movie doesn't really treat that. They just like drop that as a line.
Yeah.
It's like, no. He was like, he's an off planet. He talked to me a week ago or whatever.
Honestly, I forgot about that little plot thread that there's a Skrull posing as Nick Fury and helping him out while he's off in space. I completely forgot about it and just took that line in stride and was like, okay, sure.
It's so weird. Like, I don't...
Why can't Tom Holland just call Nick Fury and be like, yo, this guy said you're in space. Can you come to... Wait, I'm sorry. Let me put on my Tom Holland voice for this little bit here. Hey, it's me. It's Mr. Spider-Man over here. Can you come down and tell this palooka over here that you're not in space? You're right here on good old planet Earth.
Palooka was good. I like that.
Yeah.
That was good.
I'm trying to think of like what the most public thing Nick Fury did in that movie, because he didn't do too many things that were like out and about. But he was at one point like in a building full of people. Maria Hill shot a rocket launcher off of a roof and at a drone or something. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's just a weird thing for me, because I would expect the answer that guy would give is like, no one's seen Nick Fury in years or something, or like, well, where's he now? But it's not that. It's just like, I have secret knowledge about Nick Fury that no one else seems to have, unless maybe that guy's a Skrull. But then he would work with Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
Secret classified knowledge that I'm willing to drop on this random teenager to tell him that he's going to jail.
Yeah.
I thought just to this point how they really dropped the by the way, did your theaters freak out when Matthew Cox was on his screen, his beautiful face? Was everyone like, oh my god?
I went in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday, so there were not that many people there.
So you didn't get like a fun like fan audience.
I mean, I got some reactions, and that was actually one of them, but it wasn't like a big packed opening night crowd like you guys presumably had.
I feel like people in theaters seem to be like excited about this but not, I think mostly because I feel like this cameo, from what I've seen in videos and stuff, has been a lot of like, oh my god, it's a guy for the thing. Like not as much of it everyone stands up and applauds and cries cameo.
Yeah.
But because I feel like the people that know who he is all knew this was coming, and the people that didn't know who he was just didn't know who he was.
Yeah, no, that's fair. For whatever reason, my theater got like a big reaction from it.
In contradiction to your point, Nando, I did not know this was coming.
Oh,
now my reaction was more along the lines of like, oh, huh, that's neat. I
guess I am more plugged into Spider-Man Twitter than either of you. But I do remember like right after Far From Home came out and the whole like plot of everyone knows Spider-Man's identity, everybody was like, ooh, this is a good place to put Daredevil. Maybe he could be Spider-Man's lawyer when he gets sued for stuff. And so like, I guess it's just been that like ever since then, it's been such a clear place for him to go and like really clear introduction. And with the introduction of a certain other Daredevil character into the Marvel Cinematic Universe this week, Yeah. Which, like, I want to go back and see if in the original timeline of when these movies were released, were they couldn't have been, like, because a lot of things have been shuffled around. I wonder if they were always supposed to come out the same week. I think that was always the plan.
Yeah, it's fair.
Because, yeah, like, I know Multiverse of Madness was originally going to come before this, and, like, there were all kinds of things that eventually got changed because of COVID.
Coolvid. The cool COVID.
Yeah, it's the cool version of COVID.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked him. He was good in it.
So
he, much like Ben Affleck Daredevil, doesn't give a single fuck about hiding his identity.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm a good lawyer. That's how I do this.
He's
That's
a
how
good
I
lawyer.
caught a brick.
So I had a question for you guys. I actually would have loved the plot line of oh man, how is Spider-Man going to deal with all this like litigation because like a superhero going public? That's like the whole thing like with the Incredibles, right? It's like these supers gotta pay for what they did, but it's like, oh, the government will just shuffle them away. I would have loved for like, oh, public superhero, how do you handle the damages? But the movie has no interest or time in like that plot line. I just was curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this movie is only interested in specific things it wants to do, and everything else, the second it has served its purpose in reaching that destination, just instantly dropped.
Yeah. And I think, like, the other John Watts movie, like Spider-Man Homecoming to Far From Home, had this, too, where at the end, Aunt May finds out Spider-Man's identity, and then in the beginning of that movie, it comes up a little bit, and then it's kind of forgotten about as well. Like, it's also not a big part of the movie. So it very much feels like this John Watts is replaced every year by a new John Watts or something who has to be like, oh, this old one ruined the movie. I'll just get rid of his stuff and start new stuff. But
maybe that's his thing. Maybe he's like, oh, I
want
it to be different.
I think it's that he's maybe gone a little bit to the J.J. Abrams school of movie making, where he's like, I like creating big, splashy, surprise moments that make people go, I wonder how this is going to play out. And then they start writing the next movie, and someone asks him, so how is that going to play out? And he goes,
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's not good. But I mean, it's fine here. He seems to be able to juggle at least that part of it well enough that it's not the biggest deal. But yeah.
It's more like in this one, the story he replaces it with, I think is a good story that I like watching, so I'll forgive it on this one.
Yeah. I also feel like at that time, Spider-Man's also having a hard time getting into college, which I don't buy it for one bit. Yeah. Some college would take him.
He would be getting tons of offers from some colleges, like, free ride for you, Spider-Man. We'd love to have Spider-Man amongst our student body. You know?
Yeah.
He wouldn't get rejected from everything.
Like MIT, Tony Stark was like the prince of MIT. And Tony Stark loves this kid, and that was public knowledge. What are you gonna go off that, or some random fucking Mysterio dude who showed up, died, no one saw him, and then he was like, Spider-Man's bad. Like, and also, let's talk about anti-Spider-Man sentiment generally.
Yes.
What's the deal with it?
It's actually really funny that this ends up contrasting with that specific episode of Hawkeye, because if you all don't mind some light spoilers for episode 5 of Hawkeye,
please do.
I'm gonna drop right now. So if you haven't watched that episode and don't want to get spoiled, skip like 2 minutes, something like that. Anyway, in that episode, we open with Yelena, Natasha's sister, having a big conversation with Kate Bishop about Hawkeye. And a thing she says is along the lines of, like, you know, everybody's like, oh, Avengers, we love Avengers. They are super big heroes who are so good to all of us. Hooray. And we just conveniently ignored the fact that half of them were or currently are professional murderers who murder people for money. And it's
and then she says, my wife.
And it's like, that's a great point. And then this one is some random dude with heavily doctored evidence that is like clearly stitched together suggested that Spider-Man might be a murderer, and that makes like half the city turn on him instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other part of it
nuts.
is that the that view of Mysterio's and like that suggestion is turned into weaponized as propaganda by J. Jonah Jameson. And like, he seems like he is supposed to be an Alex Jones type figure in this universe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So like, I feel like MIT would be like, oh yeah, we definitely want this kid now because Alex Jones hates him and like, that means he's cool. Or at least like a more liberal university would see through that bullshit. But nah, they're like ready to go with that bullshit.
And I mean, like, I'm sure there are some of them who would be like, oh, we don't want to deal with the controversy, so we're not gonna, whatever. But there would totally be lots of them that, are like, man, fuck Alex Jones. We support you, Spider-Man. Free ride here.
Yeah, he went to space. We like Captain America still, right? Captain America and this kid were friends. Like, at what, like, some of the Avengers, I think I'd like to see more of a, not like cohesive, but I just want to see, like Hawkeye, something even more street level than what we're getting now. Like, told by some third party, like the character in the Marvels book who is like just a reporter. And I want to see what the word on the ground is about these guys. And the answer is they can't do it because they'd have to decide. And that would have to be consistent throughout the movies. But like we're doing the Steve Rogers musical, right? Why is Spider-Man...
Did you see the sign for it?
Yeah, I did see that. That was cute.
That was good. I like that.
But like, why is Spider-Man Public Enemy #1?
You saying you want the Phil Urich, like, gritty procedural show on Disney Plus next?
Yeah, not Phil Urich. It's so you've got both parts of it. It would be Ben Urich or Phil... Oh, I can't remember his name. But the guy with the one eye from that one comic. But yeah, I do want that. Or like, I don't know who the right character would be, but someone like Hawkeye, but less involved, an outsider.
Maybe like a Jessica Jones.
Oh.
Yeah, I would almost like. Yeah, she would work. Like the She-Hulk show could do it if it wasn't for Hulk, and I feel like that's kind of complicated. Although I think we'll have to see some superhuman trials on She-Hulk, and maybe that'll, help to fill in the gaps there. Miss Marvel will probably have a perspective on, I mean, there's a, Captain Marvel Halloween costume at one point. Mm-hmm. And who knows who she is? Like, she doesn't do anything on Earth. So, like, she showed up for Endgame, and everyone's like, oh my god, Captain Marvel, amazing. But, like, I don't know. I mean, this has always been a thing in the comics, too, is like J. Jonah Jameson just hates Spider-Man. But I don't feel like that sentiment is usually carried through by the public. It's usually just J. Jonah Jameson and maybe the police.
I thought the first day of school scene with the 3 teachers was like a good microcosm of like how it probably went down. Mm-hmm. Like the Hannibal Buress character, who we know like doesn't like Captain America, is probably like, yeah, I'm not about you. But the other 2 are just kind of like star fucking, or it's like, yo, crawl around, yeah, like go for it. Like you just want to be near a famous person, which is why you think the colleges would be super down.
Oh yeah, like I said, there would like even if they're not like, oh man, fuck Alex Jones or fuck J. Jonah Jameson, we support you. If there's definitely a bunch of colleges out there that are at least like, we don't care if it's good or bad, we want the publicity of Spider-Man being here.
Yeah.
Also, all right, Hannibal Buress' guy, maybe you believe that Spider-Man killed Mysterio. Spider-Man saved the whole fucking school like 3 times. There's no reason we see in our current terrible times that propaganda, it gets people in ways that are pretty wild. But like specifically your school, he has probably saved your life. So I don't know. Maybe it's more complicated than that.
I think there's a deeper question here, which is, if they seem to be fully aware that that's Hannibal Buress' views, why did they invite him to the Spider-Man Welcome Committee?
That's a great point.
Just tell him to not be there.
Yeah. I did like that those guys were in it and then not in it anymore. That was cool.
I know.
I hope they all got nice paychecks.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that part.
No. What'd you guys think of the, I don't know, what's next? The Doctor Strange stuff, I guess? Real quick, Mary Jane.
Yes.
She's working in a coffee shop.
MJ?
I do mean MJ, that's right. What's her, she said it too. What
Michelle
was it?
Jones.
Michelle Jones, yeah.
Michelle Jones is her first and last name. Michelle Jones Watson, technically, but she doesn't like the Watson part.
So, like, is the guy at the store her dad?
No.
It's like ordering her around and being a jerk?
Just like, that's her boss. She's a shitty boss. Some people have shitty bosses.
Because I was like...
Everybody has a shitty boss. There's no such thing as a good boss.
That's true. Every boss sucks. Yeah.
I was just expecting we would get that revelation because, like, you know, Mary Jane usually has a rough upbringing and, like, something, and that would be kind of a sympathetic thing for her. But, yeah, it's just bad boss. It's like the boss in the first movie that's like, "You coming out of your paycheck. Stop talking to that guy."
Oh, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was cool. But yeah, so then he sees some sort of like little, I don't know, Funko Pop, like kind of little decoration of Doctor Strange because it's Halloween decoration time, but it's Christmas, but you know, whatever.
This movie, yeah, that's a great point. Unless he took a long time to do the thing at the end that he does.
Well, I do think there's a person. I think the dad, or not dad, but the boss is like, take those decorations down. But like, yeah, it's probably just like an ADR because someone remembered that the script takes place over like 2 months.
Actually, now that I think about it, that's really early to be getting college acceptance letters
and college denials.
Yeah, like that's before
you get your denials in like March.
That's
maybe
before
the point.
Deadline accept. That's like before the deadline for accepting. They wouldn't send anything because they're not done accepting applications.
Yeah, maybe the blip kind of threw that all off. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe all calendars are like weird now from the blip.
Remember the blip, you guys?
Yeah,
oh man,
it cost Doctor Strange his job.
That's fun.
Do we want to talk about the ramifications of the blip and what that meant for people? Absolutely not.
Nah.
I mean, in some shows we do, in others...
in some shows we kind of sort of do.
Yeah.
I will say that the blip is a through line for the MCU is like interesting, but there should have been a different resolution to Endgame because they can't keep this thing going.
Yeah, they should have just gone back in time. That's the obvious choice. Like,
yes.
Because, the movies are always going to be like 5 years ahead of us for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, they all take place in like 2024 now or something.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to do a big splashy thing that makes you go like, wow, I can't believe they did that. But they didn't want to deal with having done that. So they just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's oh, I just want to know about the people who were in airplanes. Are they okay?
No, they're all dead. Oh my God, they're super dead.
Fell.
Yeah.
No.
I also want to say, for apparently being genius level smart, like Ned, MJ, and Peter all are, I can't believe they can't figure out that if it's a small envelope, that means you didn't get in.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's not good. The size of the envelope told you before anything else.
That was great. Yeah. It is funny that they all got rejected from all the colleges, and they're like, but let's see if the MIT one is the only good news. Like, I don't know, man. That's probably the one that's least likely to be accepted.
I mean,
well, we don't
so optimistic when you're 17. Like,
yeah,
they're not thinking about all that. Like, they're not jaded like us. Our jaded brains can't get there with, oh my God, what's hope?
Also, we don't know what else they applied to. Like, Peter's going on like, hey, you know, maybe we don't make it into MIT, but we got a backup schools also in Boston. As long as we all end up in Boston, that's going to be just fine. Am I right or am I right?
Salami.
And, you know, that backup school you could be talking about could be Harvard for all we know.
It probably is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, don't they go to, like, a very prestigious high school? Like, it's probably like
they do. They go to Midtown Science High, which is like, yeah, it's big.
This is MCU Peter Parker, DJ. So even though he will once in a while talk about not having money, actually he's like super well off and has everything he could ever want and never has any real problems.
Yeah, that was interesting. What do we think of Doctor Strange in this?
I thought he sure was Doctor Strange.
I thought he was a plot device and not a character.
I disagree.
Nando.
I think he was good, and as a character, I like that version of Doctor Strange that just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he will send all the villains home to their home dimension. He doesn't care. He's got bigger problems, but he will also help little Spider-Man. But like, when it comes to big picture stuff, he could not care less about these like small things. I think that's a good probably the best representation of Doctor Strange that we've really had on screen in terms of like getting some sort of characterization behind just also kind of Iron Man.
I have to be very honest. So when he was in the mode of, yeah, fuck it, I will send every one of these jabronis back to their home dimension, I don't give a fuck, I was like, fuck Mephisto. I can't. WandaVision scarred me. I just now think everything's Mephisto. I think it's Mephisto in Hawkeye. I think it's Mephisto in Shang-Chi. I think it's all Mephisto. All roads back to Mephisto.
I mean, we don't know. That photo was really blurry. That could be Mephisto that Kate's mom was talking to.
Right.
He does frequently use a cane. You know, he did in the Ghost Rider movies, because that's like something in literature, right, or something. The devil like broke his back when he fell from heaven and he walks with a cane. I don't know.
That's definitely it.
It is. It's a thing. The where's I going with this? Oh, well, it's weird too because we also got evil Doctor Strange in What If, and I think there were a lot of other fan theories that were like, that's who this is instead, which. A certain other thing, which we'll talk about at the very end, complicates even more. But yeah, he is just. I do like that he is irresponsible, and constantly getting in over his head. I don't know. I really like this Doctor Strange, but he's not Sorcerer Supreme anymore. It's Wong now.
I just for me, it was weird. I felt like he kind of flopped between scenes in his motivations a lot, depending on what the movie needed him to do. Because at the start, he's like really sympathetic to Peter, and like that was great. I liked having him have that warmth, and then the big bad thing happens, and he's like, this is really bad and you need to fix it. But also, I'm not going to help at all because whatever. I'm tired. And then...
He's got all this shit going on.
And then he's doing a different thing. And he's like, all right, I want to murder all of them. Goodbye. And he has to fight Peter. And then he comes back and they're like, actually, you don't need to do the murder. And he's like, fine. We're not going to do the murder. And it's just... I just didn't feel like there was a consistent through line with him. Like, Benedict Cumberbatch is a good actor, and he makes each of those individual scenes work. And I feel like, that's what Doctor Strange is feeling in that moment. But then I think about it, and I'm like, I'm not sure the movie really justified all these wild swings in emotion he had.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he comes on and it's like, oh, I'm dealing with some next level shit right now, so I can't worry about your little blah, 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 blah. There's like 8 million... Although that should be a job for the Sorcerer Supreme. He shouldn't have to worry about such trifles.
Well, Wong said, just keep me out of it, so he's sticking to that.
Oh, I mean other things. Like, he shouldn't have to worry about whatever other things that he's pissed off about.
Well, I also feel like one of Doctor Strange's key characteristics, besides like the sympathy for Spider-Man thing, is just he just doesn't do well with authority. So I feel like when Wong is like, don't do that spell, that's ground zero for like he's absolutely going to do that spell.
Although the trailers...
he said just keep me out of it.
Yeah, the trailers mislead you into thinking that's going to be his final word. But actually, he's like, you can do it. I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
Fucking trailers be lying, am I right, fellas?
Trailers be lying. This trailer did good lies. Most of them.
I was down for all the lies about the trailer.
These trailers are great when it comes to like selectively editing things out of shots to hide information.
Oh my god, they're so good.
More trailers should do that. Just totally lie about the movie. Lie about who's in it. Lie about what the plot is. As long as the movie's good, we don't care.
Yeah, I'd rather be lied to than spoiled.
I've said it so many times, and I'll keep saying it. There's no problem that can't be solved with enough lying.
And then, so Doctor Strange shows up, and he's like, let's do a spell. And he does a spell. What did you guys think of the spell?
Yeah. I found it interesting that, like, as long as Peter only had made the one edit to, like, oh, can Mary Jane please no? It seems like it would have been fine. It was, like, the 7th edit that was a problem.
MJ, not Mary Jane?
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to continue to call her Mary Jane because, you know...
Well, it's not her name, DJ, so that's very disrespectful.
Fine, I'm going to call her Zendaya.
Well, let's say you're Spider-Man in that situation, right? And Doctor Strange is like, okay, everyone's going to forget that you're Spider-Man. And he's like, wait, what about Aunt May? And like, you could tell her,
just
bro.
Tell her.
Just tell her.
Just tell her, hey, what's up?
She's not been an important part of this mission so far. It's,
MJ I get because it's like part of your relationship, weirdly enough. So, like, if you want to hold on to that, that's fine. But, like, Ned, whatever. Aunt May, whatever. Like, everyone else is a big old whatever.
I like that Doctor Strange even points out is like, well, do you think she's only with you because you're Spider-Man? It's like, come on, kid.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But also, we haven't really gotten into, we never get into this. What would people think? You know? Aunt May doesn't know he's Spider-Man, right? But would she remember that she had Spider-Man at her, like, fundraising event in the beginning of Far From Home?
But she would just think that was Spider-Man.
She would just, she just thinks she somehow booked Spider-Man the guy.
Yeah.
She met
I think you question
Spider-Man
those things.
and he's his friend for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, also,
I mean,
like, Spider-Man's a
not
cool guy. Like, that seems like a thing he would do.
Not to spoil the end of the movie, but that does seem to be how something works.
Yes, it is. Which is even more confusing for me.
Yeah, I was also confused by that. That made less sense to me than what they just should have done, but whatever.
But yeah, so then the spell goes wrong. He puts it in a little box or something. First, he, like, futzes with it a little bit. And then Spider-Man has to go save the college lady because they failed the college. They didn't do good college stuff.
Because Doctor Strange points out, like, hey, you can, like, call and talk to them and see if they'll reconsider instead of skipping to magic spells.
Yeah.
It is, but, like, okay. I feel like missing on MIT was the breaking point, but, like, he wanted it to happen so their lives could be normal in general.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't seem like it was a singular goal, but, like, Doctor Strange took that as, like, you made me do this and you didn't even call? It's like, well, like, in this, sure, but maybe in general it would be easier for everyone if this wasn't public information.
So at this point of the movie, I was like, this is the sign of one of the things I don't like about MCU Spider-Man. He doesn't have real problems. What he's mad about is he didn't get into MIT. Like, that's not Spider-Man to me, but also, it's fine. It's fine.
This is kind of a question that just popped back into my head. Does Spider-Man ever learn who Mysterio really was?
I mean, I knew he was, I don't know, like, in just that he was, like, a former Stark employee who got yelled at. I don't know.
Because, like, Mysterio, for some absolutely insane reason, used his real name as part of this scheme, right? Like, he was Quentin Beck in both universes, the fictional one that doesn't exist and the universe that the Marvel one is. So, like, it's just so...
Well, I guess, though, with the cover story he was using, he could have said, like, yeah, that's the version of me in your universe, I guess. He must not have turned out so well. But don't worry, that's not me.
It just seems so hard for Spider-Man to, like, get this so easily pinned on him. Just like, dude, do any amount of research. Find the real Quentin Beck from our universe. Oh, he's dead too? From what? The Mysterio thing. Okay, well then, there we go. What about his friends? It's crazy. It's just crazy to me. Does Spider-Man still have the glasses, by the way?
Didn't he destroy all the drones with the thing at the end of Far From Home?
But don't we see the glasses in his room at one point or something?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Right? Not like that he could use the drones, but, like, those might be helpful. I don't know. Anyway, so then we get the first fight, Dr. Octopus. Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I like that it was in the day and we could see it. That was nice.
That was good. Great to see Alfred Molina back.
Alfred Molina is putting doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
You know?
Heck yeah.
Although he is wearing his shirt. A little upsetting.
Wearing his shirt.
I want to get a look at that. Come get a look at that little dad bod he's got. You know? I want to get a little of that Alfred Molina bare chest and tummy.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Although it might be less dad bod now. It might be something he wants to keep, wrapped up. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, they sold enough tickets, so it's not like that would have put some,
Right.
I mean, but maybe that would have put him over the edge for you, I can't say. Did we get any scenes in this movie where someone took their shirt off and was ripped?
I mean, Tom Holland?
Oh, yeah, he did have his shirt off when
in that
MJ was in
hilarious
his room.
scene where May and Happy think that he and MJ are about to fuck.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Which, like, they already did that joke in the first one of these with Ned, where it was like he's in his underwear. And, like, I like this version of the story where Aunt May just thinks that Peter fucks all these kids in his room by taking off all of his clothes. And then they just kind of, I don't know, stand there while he dances around or whatever.
He's pulling the naked man from How I Met Your Mother.
That's true. But yeah, Dr. Octopus, he's pretty cool. I like his legs. I wish they were more practical, but hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I liked how he fought. His fighting was good. Like, I think they've always done a great job in the 2 times they've had him with, like, really getting creative with, like, how he would try to beat you up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of head crushing.
A lot of throwing stuff, a lot of, like, walking on things in clever ways. That's cool.
He is cool. Yeah. I do think there's I feel like the action in this movie is good. It's not. It's well choreographed, and a lot of it looks pretty neat. But I just feel like with the editing and stuff, there's not like a lot of good impacts to the editing, so it feels a little more weightless in a way that I don't love.
This one specifically, or all of it?
I think it's a problem with a lot of them. I think this one suffers the worst from it because it's the most like, you know, he's Doc Ock, he's clambering around, throwing cars at you, doing his big tentacle stuff, and I think it would have benefited the most from having those editing tricks to make it feel more impactful.
Yeah, that's fair.
Again, it's not bad. You know, it's not like it's not like the fight choreography in Daredevil where I see them hitting their marks.
Oh man!
But
my God,
it could be better.
It's a nitpick, if you will.
Yeah, perhaps.
The bit where Spider-Man got his suit all taken away by Dr. Octopus. Now, was that Spider-Man's doing?
Yeah, well, no, I think it might have been the nanotech's doing, because the nanotech seems to be like kind of sentient almost.
Yeah, I think the nanotech like spread on his tentacles when he took off that bit of the suit, just like because that's what they do. And then Peter was like, "Oh, since that happened, I can do this thing."
But he didn't realize that until it like became apparent. The nanotech will present itself to you at the right moment.
Yeah,
I did
can
kind
only
of
get
like
the nanotech if you don't want to use it.
I did like how that ended up revealing that he wasn't the Peter that Alfred Molina knew, because it was like the nanobots on his head moved down to stop him from getting stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, I do think that reveal was cute, and just I like Dr. Octopus's reaction, which isn't like I'm gonna kill this guy anyway necessarily, but it's also not like I'm a good guy now. It's just like I'm really confused, and I'm just gonna sit down over here for a second and figure it out.
I was trying to kill you because I thought you were Peter Parker and you're a different person. So, like, I don't know what I'm going to do about this now. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting. So we learn later that all of these guys seemed to get plucked from their own universe. Not say like moments before their death in the Spider-Man movies that they were from, if they died in them.
I was going to say, which is extra confusing for the ones that didn't die in their movies.
For sure. But he is like, in his movie, it's night, and he's in a completely different place, and like he's bugging Spider-Man about the machine, so it's the end. Like it's not the train bit.
It's
so like
literally the way he's describing it, what he remembers, it's literally the last moment before he has his kind of redemption thing.
So yeah, he's just like, I guess, got like portal brain or something, and he can't quite figure it out. But yeah, it's very strange.
Almost. Like you don't remember what happened moments before. It's like, you know, you just wake up from a dream. You're like, I'm here now.
Yeah.
It's very Doctor Strange. Oh.
Which apparently was a name that was taken in the Raimi universe.
Yeah.
Was he just like a doctor whose name was Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Does
so
he know?
When he said Doctor Strange later, or if anyone ever said that in front of Alfred Molina or Willem Dafoe, they should have been like, "Oh, I know that guy."
Yeah. He sells supplements.
Yeah, maybe
Doctor Strange.
Maybe Doctor Strange is their Dr. Oz.
Oh, no. Wait, so Dr. Octopus only finds out Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like right before he yells at the tentacles and becomes good.
Yeah.
Huh, okay, I'll buy that. Like, that makes sense, I guess. I guess he, like, thinks Spider-Man teleported him onto a bridge or something, and that's part of what happened.
Spider-Man!
Does he find Spider-Man by accident?
Like he just happens to be on the highway there, just traipsing about.
Maybe
I
it's
think
the red string of fate. They're inexorably drawn together.
It has to be, right? Because, Spider-Man isn't wearing a Spider-Man suit at that time. He's like put it on. So just happened to be there. And then same with Green Goblin, who also happens to be there. Which, New York's a tiny city with like 15 people in it in Spider-Man movies, so that's fine.
Very easy to just randomly run into people in New York. So it makes sense.
And then they get teleported away and Green Goblin doesn't kill him. That's good.
It's good that he's not dead.
Doctor Strange, really helps there. He should have done that more, but whatever. It's fine, I guess.
Yeah, he's probably had a whole thing going where he's like, been so confused he can't get anything, helpful going.
So what I love about Doctor Strange in this movie is he pulls Peter here because he's like, I've tracked and determined that there is a multiversal anomaly going on here.
What?
Oh my God, Mr. Dr. Smith? Is that you?
Dr. Oz?
Mr. Spider-Man.
Peter, what have you done?
Dr. Octopus is a virus on humanity.
Listen, he's gotten a lot better at it over the years, but I'll never forget that early Doctor Strange accent.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's always my, actual Doctor Strange accent. It's always the weird way he says the word Dormammu. He says it like, Dormammu. And it's so weird. He screams it so many times at the end of that movie.
I've come to bargain.
Dormammu. Yeah. I like him, but I also think it really broke for me during his What If episode when he has to scream a lot. It's like, you're not there. Like, you're great. And I think he's terrific. It's a tough accent, It's just a tough accent.
See, I didn't mind his vocal performance in that because I was too distracted by the utterly horrendous facial animations.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But okay, so wait, what happened? Oh, yeah. Right, so then Doctor Strange puts him in little jail. That's fun.
Yeah, puts him in little magic jail. But no, what I like about this is that he's saying, like, I tracked this weird lizard creature and put him in my magic jail. And now you need to fix this. And Peter doesn't, but should be like, all right, well, you use these magics to track the lizards like tight fella. So maybe you can magically tells me where's these others fellas are? And Doctor Strange says no, and then leaves.
Yeah. And he gives Spider-Man a little bracelet.
And a new suit.
Well, he doesn't give him a new suit. Spider-Man, because he has green paint on it, is forced to put his old suit inside out, which is cute.
That is cute.
Like, I think they did a great job of inventing a billion suits so they could sell them as toys.
Yeah,
in this movie, like, there are 5 separate Spider-Man suits, not counting the ones other Spider-Men wear.
On like a basic level, it's fine, but on a meta level, I was watching that being like, oh look, there's another toy. Oh look, there's another toy. It annoyed me.
It's almost like it's like back in the days when they would make like a show or Batman or something, but in the Batman movie he would wear one suit, but in the toys they would make like 5 extra suits, like for him to go, into space and shit. So in this, they just put all the suits in the movie and, had like random reasons why this one was better than that one. I think that suit kind of looked cool with all the wiring stuff. But yeah, it was very just kind of there. But he had to go track another anomaly, some sort of fantastic electricity man.
What could it be?
Yeah.
It must be the Green Goblin. He's flying near a military installation.
Yeah. And, I feel like if you're him, right? If you're Spider-Man, I don't know. Do you ask the other guys to help? Like, or not ask them for help, but do you go hey, lizard guy, any guesses on who I'm going to be dealing with next?
They kind of do that.
I guess he doesn't even know the lizard can speak.
Yeah, they don't know that yet. But they kind of do that with Dr. Octopus. Like, he kind of helps them.
He does say, you're about to get killed by Green Goblin because he's a ghost or something. And that's pretty cool. And
Alfred Molina doing a good job.
Doing an amazing job. What'd you think of the Electro fight? What do you think of Electro in this movie in general?
It felt like Jamie Foxx wanted to do a different character. He's like, I don't like how it went last time, so I would like to re-up this, please.
That's like literally true, TJ. It's like actually what happened.
It's gotta be, yeah.
Well, it worked.
No. I mean, like again, in the minimal research I do for this podcast now, it was literally like when they asked Jamie Foxx if he wanted to sign on, he was like, I wanted it to be different, though. I'll do it, but I want to be different. I want it to be more like I thought it would be.
So did we all, Jamie. So did we all. His Max Dillon is just a guy, electricity guy, and that's all he ever was. Did he die in the end of his movie? Do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. Doesn't he get like absorbed into the energy grid or whatever?
Yeah,
they like overload him. Yeah,
he felt like one of those characters that could show up again if they decided he had survived, but was kind of maybe definitively dead. Yeah. Now but he's the one.
They never made another one of those movies though, so he's still just dead.
Yeah. Now he's the one in universe who never finds out Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah,
right.
So it makes no sense that he's here. In fact, the movie even calls attention to the fact at the end that he did not know who Peter Parker was.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He wasn't even close either. It's not even like he was like, I never knew you were Spider-Man, but I always assumed. He was like, I was pretty sure John was Spider-Man or something. I had a completely different guy in mind, and it wasn't you in very specific ways. But you know what? That's fine. I liked him.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I liked the way they visualized his powers, but I don't think they did it here because he's still Blue Electricity Man here. But this is the scene where we also get the return of another classic Spider-Man character, Mr. Wall of Sand with a face.
Yeah, Mr. couldn't be in the movie?
But they did get him, though. That is Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, without a doubt. But
which is so confusing. Did they not... Could he only be on set for a day, and the rest were voice lines and CGI? Like, what happened there?
I don't think he was ever on set, because that image of him that may show up later in the movie is cribbed directly from Spider-Man 3. Similarly to the Lizard, who also has a shot, and his is just, you could easily find it, that is in Spider-Man 1, or Amazing Spider-Man 1, of him, like, turning back into person form, and, like, they just used that again. So...
I did not know that.
Yeah, those two actors, I don't think were ever on set, which I guess makes sense because they wanted to keep this so tight-knit that they probably wanted to minimize, and it's probably schedules are tricky, resci funds is in something that's about to come out or has come out, right? What's he in? Oh, I can't remember. He's in something. And I don't know what Thomas Hayden Church is up to.
And also, it's not like the people were clamoring for the Lizard and Sandman.
Yeah. Oh, you know what Rhys Ifans is in? He's Rasputin in the Kingsman movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, apparently it's very good. So maybe he was. I mean, but yeah, it's not like he would have needed to be in his human form. Although, yeah, I still hate the way that Lizard looks. I really do. It's so dumb. I feel like they fixed Electro. They knew what the problems with him were, and I wouldn't say they fixed Green Goblin, but they did kind of make some tweaks to make it look a little bit more interesting. And in this, they just went, but the Lizard is, we're using all the assets from the old movie.
If anything, I would say they made Green Goblin worse. I love his Power Rangers costume from that first movie.
I loved his costume here. Yeah, I think this is perfect.
Agree. 100% agree with Nando. It's so classic.
It's so, and it's so, like,
I thought the goggles were stupid. I didn't like the goggles.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely didn't need them because he's got a wonderful face, which we see plenty of. But yeah, the suit itself, we'll get to it, but it was interesting. What do you guys think of Thomas Hayden Church, aka Sandman?
He sure did act. In that he said lines that were necessary.
The Sandman is the character who made the least sense to me of these villains, who kind of just... Much like Doctor Strange, kind of just seems to do things depending on what the movie needs him to do at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there was a point, there's the point where the turn happens, where I'm kind of like, he's not a bad guy, though. He's a good guy. He's pretty much been a good guy. I guess it kind of depends on when they got him, because everybody else got them before they died, or at least in Lizard's case, before he turned back into a person, so it was still lizarding around. But with Sandman, it's like, did they just pick him up in the middle of Spider-Man 3? Did they get him like 10 years later?
I feel like it must be post Spider-Man 3 because he's like, hey, Peter, I want to help you out.
That's true, yeah.
Like, he knows who Spider-Man is, and he's friendly to him.
Yeah. So then it is really weird when he turns into a villain, even though out of all of the characters, too, his disease or like his like thing is not a big deal to him. Like, it doesn't really seem to impede his life in a really significant way, but he should really want to get home because he seems like he was doing fine and he only cares about his daughter.
Yeah, and that seems to be what they're going for here. It's like he's a villain because he just wants them to send them home, and he doesn't want to deal with all this curing the others biz. But I don't know, man. I feel like the way you do that is you stay at the end there and are like, hey, man, it sucks it didn't work out, but you should just push the button. Not leave and do a villain rampage.
Yeah. It's really weird. But he is in here, and he shows up as a big wall of sand and says, like, hey, Peter Parker, it's me, Flint Marko, Sandman. Remember?
Remember you helped me.
Yeah. And then
remember me?
And they fight, what's his name? It's pretty good. I mean, it's fine. I don't really remember much from that fight besides just they get hit with electricity a lot.
I mean, after
how does Spider-Man beat him?
After Sandman shows up, it's really just Sandman does a big whirlwind around Electro so that he can't fire electric bolts, and then Spider-Man tears all the cables off of the electricity lines so that there's no more power.
Yeah.
It's a weak fight, like, comparatively. But, like, whatever. It gets us to the next scene. Like, all this movie cares about is getting all of the villains in one place trapped so the movie can functionally start. So that's really all these scenes were.
Yeah.
Which, like, fine, whatever. It definitely pads the runtime. No tight 90 to be found here.
I think it is interesting that he does trap Sandman in the box as well.
Well, that's the job, right?
Yeah, but, like, he's helping you. Be like, hey, we're going to bring you guys back to your home dimension. Isn't that great? Yeah. Okay, help me catch this last guy. And then we'll be able to do that. He didn't know. He's
about to freak out. He's about to be like, what did you do to him? I'm upset.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. He kind of has to in that moment.
As is often a problem with characters in MCU movies, Peter just refuses to actually explain what's going on and just repeats over and over again, like, it's fine. If you let me explain, I'll tell you how much it's fine. Just let me talk and I'll tell you it's fine. Come on, just let me say something. I'll say something and you'll see it's fine. After I say something, just let me say something right now where I say how fine it is and I explain why it's fine and you'll be like, this is fine. And it's like, you could be spending all this time explaining it, Peter.
Yeah, but he can't.
There's no time.
Like, just say, it's a teleportation thing. I just brought him back to the wizard basement so we could send you guys home. And then have Sandman be like, oh, okay, well, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
No, like, what wizard basement? What do you mean? How do you know you're not lying? How can I trust you? Blah, blah, blah. You're not the Peter Parker I know. See, it just escalates. It all escalates.
Well, they just go to the wizard basement anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's all this movie cares about. Like, at this point, it's like, we must get to Wizard Basement. And they do, pretty quickly.
They do. And then we catch our last guy by going to get him.
Yeah, we drive to him.
What'd you think of sad little Norman Osborn?
Well, the whole time you're like, what a play. What a play this is.
No, I thought the movie was being sincere.
Oh, like, play by Green Goblin. Well, no, he's conning Aunt May. Yeah.
No, he's just got split personalities.
Well, but, like, he knows it's a con.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, no, I think he's being sincere. Later, when the turn happens, he's like, I watched from inside Norman as you may install those obsolete morals in you. Like, it sounds like he was actually not in control in those moments.
Because we did get that moment in the subway, or not subway, in the alleyway, where he, like, breaks the helmet and he's like, I don't want to be Green Goblin. Right. And it's like he did in those old movies where the helmet talked to him, which, like, fabulous. That was great. Yeah. I was like, where is this helmet? And it's just like, he sets it on a garbage can at eye level so we can have a conversation with it. So good.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love everything Willem Dafoe is giving us in this movie. The man is feasting.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
My gosh.
Speaking of feast, he goes to Feast, the homeless shelter thing or whatever.
He does go to Feast.
He does go to that. And yeah.
Which is an acronym for something, I can't remember.
I think the T The S definitely stands for Spider-Man. The T stands for...
It doesn't actually stand for Spider-Man.
Thanos?
Friends of everyone and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But he goes there and has like a little freak out. And Aunt May's like, I think I got your 5th guy.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's like, I didn't know there were 5. And it's like, yeah, I guess there are. I don't know.
And he's like, shouldn't there be
Also
6? It feels like a better number. And Aunt May's like, I don't know what to tell you. We tried to get a 6th and he was too busy, so just deal with the 5.
Don't worry, there'll probably be a really clever line where someone calls you guys the Sinister Six and blames you for this. Or maybe it'll be cut, who knows. But
I don't think it's in
either
the movie,
way.
actually, now that I don't think about
wait,
it.
Is that in the movie?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. Yeah. I was like, I was waiting for it, but they didn't do it. But yeah, he was good in this, and he's just kind of confused and stuff.
Well, what's great about Willem Dafoe in this movie is that he sells both sides of it so well. Like,
yeah.
When he's cackling crazy Green Goblin, he's like out of his mind, and it's awesome. But it's important for the movie to work that he also sells these "I'm regular Norman Osborn and I need help. Please help me" scenes, and he does. He totally feels like he's this kind of lost and broken man who really does want to get better, and it's so good. It's like, maybe part of why I like this movie is that using only previous movie villains, an MCU movie was forced to have a good villain in it.
Yeah, right?
How dare you?
Name,
not wrong.
You.
Name a good villain that's not Loki or Killmonger.
I mean, Thanos.
Vulture. Vulture from Spider-Man 1.
I don't love Thanos, but I'll give you Thanos. Vulture got one good scene, but it's fine.
Shang-Chi's dad. I think he was pretty good.
Okay, sure.
The Agatha Harkness, when she wasn't just a flying person,
Agatha
but when
Harkness,
she was cool in the beginning of the show.
Wasn't the villain. When she was not a villain, she was good. And the second she became one, she was boring.
John Walker, before the show, forgot that he was the bad guy. Someone on Hawkeye, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
It does. Wilson Fisk in the Netflix Daredevil show.
Yeah. 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 This show's good. This movie's good. You know what I really liked about this movie was when all the villains were in boxes and they just chatted. That was fun.
Yeah,
it was like a nice little villains cafe.
I like that a lot.
This scene here, where we have everyone assembled together, is kind of where the movie won me over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, "You died," and he's like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "No, I'm from 2 years later, and you're dead." And then they're all like freaking out, and then Sandman's just like, "I don't know why I'm here. It doesn't make sense. I wasn't killed by Spider-Man. I'm nice."
Sandman's like, "You're both dead, actually, but I'm not, so this is weird."
Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea kind of that like Norman Osborn and Dr. Octopus know each other, and they're like, just because they're both scientists, and like I think Connors knows Electro from Oscorp, even though like they shouldn't, but I guess they do.
Right.
Like
holiday
it's
party.
Yeah, something. Right, exactly. In the elevator where everybody meets in that movie, where they all have little conversations, coincidence. But the bit where Sandman could just be like, "Hey, have you guys ever heard of Flip Marko? He killed the guy in a car once, but no one knew about it." And they'd be like, "No, you're not really important. You don't fit." But he is not, like, the movie doesn't focus too much on him or the lizard, which is good.
Which is the correct decision.
Yeah. So then Doctor Strange shows up and is like, "Let's kill them all. I'm going to press my button on this box that makes them all die."
It's interesting that this movie introduced, like, a device MacGuffin where this device is what will potentially end the movie and is a big deal, and, that we had, like, a keep-away game, much like the Infinity Gauntlet and Endgame.
Oh,
I found it interesting that we went back to that.
I think that's genius. As like a...
Really?
Yeah, as like a thing to keep these fights interesting and like keep Spider-Man keep trying to get the box from Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange keeps trying to get it from Spider-Man. Like, I think more of these fights need footballs that characters can fight over, because it keeps the momentum of the fight going, and it keeps the, like, it keeps the stakes of the fight clear. As opposed to just like, we're going to kill each other because that would be fun for us to do. Like,
I agree.
Yeah. And I think the idea that it is later that it's just a box that MJ and Ned have that they can push at any time to fix everything, but they don't want to because it would make them bad guys, is also clever.
Right.
So, yeah. I think it's silly that it's just like a D12 holding onto a bunch of light in a little like box of something, but yeah, whatever it is fine. I remember seeing that in the trailer and being like, what the fuck is that? And the answer is nothing. Right. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit tied together. But yeah, how do you guys feel about that fight, the Doctor Strange Spider-Man fight?
That was cool. They were like, oh, remember how you could do like the mirror dimension and all that fun stuff? Let's just have it. We got the budget. Let's do it.
Cool visuals, but let's talk a little bit about why this fight is happening. Because this is where the movie really won me.
Because Doctor Strange really wants to hit Spider-Man with the train?
Yep, that's it.
He does. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, I guess that can't kill him, but I don't think you should be sure of that. But no, why does that happen?
I'm generally against hitting teenagers with trains, generally.
Yeah. I'm sure he could take a train. I don't know. Doctor Strange, maybe he can fix it if he gets train injuries, but...
Trinjuries,
he doesn't have the time zone anymore.
In the biz.
That's right, yeah. That's how you kill a Spider-Man, too. Just hit him with the train. He got hit with the train in the last movie, too, in No Way Home. Mysterio hit him with one.
Yeah. Or if you're Kingpin, just punch him really hard.
That's true, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was good. But yeah, so Diggins, why does this happen?
Well, at Aunt May's prompting, Peter is like, it sounds like uses all's normals guises who's what fells in vats of various different kinds of substances. And like maybe you all ain't such bad guys in the end, so maybe I shouldn't send you to your deaths without trying to help you. And Doctor Strange is insisting like, no, we just have to send them back. There's nothing we can do for them, and we've got to repair the multiverse.
Doctor Strange is a sheep. We have to send them back.
And I like this because for the first time in MCU history, Spider-Man is like, I have to forego an easy solution to a problem to do the thing I think is morally correct. You know, the thing that's kind of the basis of Spider-Man as a character, along with a few other things.
How dare you? How dare you discount that part of No Way Home, or the first one of these where he decided not to let Vulture kill everyone because he wanted to have sex with that girl. That was a dangerous choice, the hardest choice of all.
What was it?
It was hard.
Yeah, I think it was. You know,
I mean, it wasn't easy, but also, yeah, I mean, this one was better. But I like the idea that it's like, listen, it might have been hard for them all to. Like, they all died in their universe because no one ever just had them. And no one could sit down with Dr. Octopus and figure it out. He was always just, like, scurrying away and throwing shit at Spider-Man.
He was always, like, about to blow up the entire city. So you had to do something about that in the moment.
And like, Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin as normal guy, but definitely Dr. Octopus, you're like, if he's not, like, a super rage monster, he is still, like, kind of there. So he should be able to help. Like, solve this problem. And once you get like him going, you've got like 3 super scientists in this room, like 3 or 4 maybe if you count Lizard, who's in the van later, but like of the smartest people on Earth. You guys can figure this out, and I think that's clever.
Yeah, no, I like this twist a lot. This is the part of the movie where I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. I like this.
Yeah, and this is the part that wasn't really in the trailer that much, which was also great. Like,
yes.
There was a little bit of it. There's that one bit where in the more recent trailer when Doctor Strange says, like, they all die fighting Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, I'm not sending them back. But you never get the sense of, like, that he's trying to fix whatever is wrong with them. You just figure he doesn't want to send them back. But it's like, yeah, he's actually solving the problem. It's good. And then, yeah, they leave Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension version of the Grand Canyon.
I didn't realize that's where they were until the end of the movie when he says it. But yes, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Peter figures out that the mirror dimension is just math. And so he spins a web that catches Doctor Strange until it's too late. And he does, in a way that he does not notice until it is too late, is the sentence I was trying to say. But I'm incapable of speech.
And he gets the ring off his finger, so he can't do teleporting and stuff.
Yeah,
It does get at what should be, and kind of is in these movies, the big weakness of Doctor Strange. It's all hand stuff. If you can't put your hands together and like do a lot of shapes, it's really hard for Doctor Strange to get anything done.
Oh, it is I, the Merovingian. Are we talking about hand stuff?
Hey,
no.
we love hand stuff.
Oh no, could he be the sixth member of the Sinister Six?
Oh,
Maybe he's
please.
just in a
Leader.
restaurant somewhere, you know? They never find him. Well, I guess technically we do have the Sinister Six. Never mind. I forgot about him, but we'll get to it. But yeah.
Well, it would appear that you are talking about a different kind of hand
I am
stuff,
talking
so
about different guys.
I will be on my way.
Sorry, Merovingian.
I
Goodbye.
will see you in Matrix Resurrections, no?
Yeah, see you next week, Merovingian. At least for the podcast. You'll definitely want to be here to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll
whether
get
you're
you
in the
back
movie
for
or not.
that. Maybe a whole episode.
Maybe.
If it's busy, we can maybe put you on instead.
Maybe we'll get the Merovingian back when we talk about that movie Diggins was talking about a couple weeks ago where the nuns do stuff. That the actor is also in. Maybe the Merovingian would have something to say about that.
I hope he
could be. He's already gone, by the way.
Ah, damn it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's how he does, you know? He's perfect. He stays exactly as long as you want, not a second less.
Yeah, he's not a pleaser, right? There's no way that he's...
Definitely. I mean, you know. Yeah, he's a
No, he's only in it for himself, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Self-love.
yeah, so Spider-Man gets Doctor Strange. I thought that fight was kind of cool. I liked the bits where Spider-Man, in the beginning of the fight, where, like, Spider-Man was, like, going through portals and, like, trying to catch the box and, you know, in, like, little loops. That was clever. Mm-hmm. Doctor Strange's pretty bad at this.
Why do you think Peter was able to keep the box away while in astral form? Because that should have been game over when Strange put him in astral form.
And it's spider sense, right? His body can react to danger or like stuff like that instinctively, I would assume. I don't see why Doctor Strange can't just push him down or something. But like, yeah.
I was going to say, he should be able to hold him and like, you know, do something to, get that box.
I think more than anything, Doctor Strange was just confused by it and like, because he's way too curious for his own good, had to get to the bottom of it. But yeah, that fight was cool. I liked how the cape helped.
Yes.
What happened to the cape? Why didn't the cape get Doctor Strange out of the mirror dimension? Was it not there?
No.
Well, how would the cape get Doctor Strange out of the mirror dimension?
It was definitely in the mirror dimension because when he gets set up in the infinite portals, the cape is the one getting the box from it.
Yeah, how would the cape help?
The cape could move those boxes, like, because Doctor Strange is pinned to a bunch of floating rocks in the mirror dimension or something, right?
Yeah, he gets all webbed up because Peter notices the fractal pattern of the rocks.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, the cape could move some of the rocks maybe or something.
Or, you know, like karate chop through the webbing.
Yeah.
Are we to believe that science, science is magic, or magic is science?
They're one and the same.
There's a corollary between magic and science.
Yeah. And Jesus, as we've discussed earlier in the podcast, is Jesus the same as science?
Was Jesus the original Sorcerer Supreme?
Oh, he better have been. Yeah. Or maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was like, you know, I don't know the names of these guys. One of the guys in the background, and Jesus was just a cape with like a hat on, just dancing around.
The ancient one like 5,000 years old?
That's what they say. Yeah, that sounds right. We definitely get 5,000. She's I don't know.
Because if that's the case, then she's pre-Jesus.
Yeah,
Prezus,
and she didn't do anything to save him. Maybe she didn't like him. She's like, yeah, get him. He's not a real sorcerer like me.
Did she help crucify Jesus?
Maybe
she was like, this Christianity stuff will never catch on.
Yeah.
I can see into the future. I know.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So that fight is cool. So then Spider-Man takes all the villains to Happy's house.
His little safe house.
His little condo. That was fun.
Yeah. He's like, did I just see some goons walk right into my house? What's going on?
Yeah, Cyborg Man and the big walking mud pile or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Now,
don't worry, though. He won't actually show up in the movie again. Don't worry.
Yeah. He doesn't. I mean, thank God. But
Nando, there's nothing this movie needed more than more Happy and May talking about their relationship. It's the one thing from Far From Home that I couldn't get enough of.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Diggins, that ship may have sailed. The thing I did love the line, by the way, where Sandman and Electro are talking about falling into vats of stuff. That is like there's another line that's similar to that I also love later on, but I love when these guys just like go like, man, it's crazy what happened to us, because that is what they would do.
Right.
I think that's great.
Can't believe we fell into a bad stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe Green Goblin, the Lizard, and Doc Ock should have had a conversation about, like, in retrospect, not a great idea to experiment on yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a
Leave
good
human
point.
trials to the other people.
Yeah. Although, I mean, look at us now. We're really crushing it. You're a big
right.
lizard, man. I've got all these tentacles. Pretty cool. Look at my
And
jacket.
you're really strong for some reason.
Yeah, it's something that I keep forgetting, but because I keep looking at you. But then you do a strong thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you can do that.
Although
That's fine.
one of Willem Dafoe's conditions for joining this movie was that he do as many of his own stunts as humanly possible.
Yeah, he was great for that.
He's going to suplex Spider-Man as much as he possibly can.
And Alfred Molina was like, put my face on whatever fucking CGI thing you want. I don't care. I will be in the room for 3 days. You figure it out.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's not just that Norman Osborn is suplexing Spider-Man. It's that mid-60s-year-old man Willem Dafoe is doing it.
Yeah, is that how old he is?
Yeah, he's getting up there.
I would have guessed he was older.
Oh no, he's not. I can see why you'd think that. He's got the face. His face is very craggy, but no, he's in his mid-60s.
I guess
He's got
you're
that
right,
Bill
yeah.
Murray face where you just assume he's way older than he is.
Yeah, he's pretty old. He's 66. Not like crazy old, but just like that's not the age I would expect for him.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I can do stunts like that when I'm 66. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to start doing them very soon because there has to be 20 years that passes between when you started doing them and now. But there's still time.
Yeah, I think I hit my stride.
I liked him in this movie when he was just being a scientist and they were just playing around with that stupid computer from older movies, powered by an arc reactor. Apparently, it's like Happy's just got sitting around. It's cute,
right? Power the sun in the palm of your hands.
Yeah. I like that Electro was like, this feels interesting to me. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
like, because his whole deal, I feel like out of all of them, his characterization was the most kind of like, we're not sure. Like, we can make him kind of a blank slate, and now it's just that he wants to eat up all the yummy electricity around him. So I like that.
Which is like fine.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Well, I would say more like, I think he has a more defined personality in this movie than, say, Sandman does. But I think,
for sure.
I think he's the most like, we just made up a new personality for this movie out of all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a recurring theme for Amazing Spider-Man characters, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. And I did like, I liked his vibe when he was getting cured with the little whatever magnet device thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And he was like, I'll do it, but I'm not thrilled about it. And also, I'm scared, kind of. I like that. But then what happened, guys?
Well, then, and I thought this was one of the coolest parts of the movie.
Absolutely.
So I think the exact part was, so we're working on everyone, right? And our first success story is we were able to replace the chip on Doc Ock, making him not a psychopath anymore. Because if you remember, the chip, which I believe was like an inhibitor.
It's the inhibitor chip, yeah.
It made sure
the inhibitor chip,
because it's like, he had to link up the tentacles directly to his nervous system, so the chip made sure the AI didn't like interact with his brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was a problem when the chip broke, because then they took him over. So they were able to fix the chip because they're all geniuses and smart, whatever. And Alfred Molina is like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy! The voices, they're quiet and it's gone! Hooray!" So now they're working on. They already put the magnet thing Nando mentioned onto Electro, so they're just kind of waiting.
Well,
but I think
there's one. Oh, sorry.
You go, Nando.
I just want to say one quick thing. Dr. Octopus is like, and as present for you curing me, Marvel Studios, here's another action figure you can sell. And he makes Spider-Man's costume now a big gold spider also. And that was nice of him.
Yeah. I was going to say, I believe what they are doing is synthesizing a cure for the Green Goblin.
That's right.
While Electro's thing counts down.
So, whilst
I want to say real quick before we get to this scene, I mentioned I had some problems thematically with this movie, and I think this is the best place to talk about it. The whole cure aspect of it is a little off to me. Now it makes sense as like a plot thing because these are like mad scientists who went crazy because they fell in a vat of eels or whatever. So like, yeah, we take away the powers and the thing that made you go crazy and everything's okay. And like, yeah, but it's the same way where it's like if you think about the X-Men as a civil rights symbol too hard, it starts to fall apart because they can just accidentally kill people because of who they are.
Right.
It's like...
Yeah,
It's like, that's not like a thing you can do with a person who needs help like that. Like, they all, like, especially Doc Ock and Green Goblin, have, like, severe mental problems. And, like, talking about curing them as opposed to, like, helping them is weird to me and kind of not great thematic messaging. But I understand where it comes from because, like I said, you know, it's a superhero movie. They're mad scientists who went crazy because they took a serum or whatever. And so, I don't know. Sorry, you go.
No, I agree. It's tricky because, yeah, in the very specific context of this movie and stuff, it makes sense. But in the larger metaphor, it's like very, like fraught messaging.
Yeah, it's just something that bugs me. But, you know, I just wanted to get that out there before we move on. DJ, please continue.
Wait, real quick, Diggins, can you take that thought, fold it up, and put it in your pocket?
I will, yes.
Maybe hold on to it for 7 days? I'm very excited to, I'm very excited for you to just keep that around, you know?
Okay.
See what happens.
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
All right. That is folded up and put in my pocket.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right, DJ, continue, please.
So yes, we are in the midst of synthesizing a cure for the Green Goblin to get rid of that split personality. And everything, the way they shot this was excellent. But basically, we have just the camera trained on Tom Holland, and everything gets like real slow and like blurry and shaky, and the music gets all like high pitched, like ding. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And it's clear that, like, Spider-Man's spider sense is going off. But what could it be? What precognition that he has is being triggered? And, you know, all of a sudden we hear the of Willem Dafoe. And you're like, let's go, baby. It's Goblin time. Fucking rock out with your cock out. It's party time.
Hello? Did you call me again?
Just like takes off.
Oh no, the Merovingian's back. No, Merovingian.
Merovingian. No, I understand how that would have been confusing, but no, I don't want to literally, you know, rock out with my penis out.
I bet if Spider-Man walked into the same room as you, Merovingian, his spider sense would go crazy.
Oh man, would you off the charts?
Would he eat that cake, you know, or would he be like, this is something? There's a problem with this.
I would love to make his spider sense go off if you understand what I am meaning.
Oh no, I bet you would. The I did like the scene before that too with Dr. Octopus where he's like, you know, they're gonna fix you, Green Goblin or whatever, Norman, and you see Norman's face like, yeah, that's a good thing. Don't even worry about it. And then you're like, oh, this is fucked. But I like how Spider-Man, like in that scene that you were describing, has that moment and then looks around and then webs whatever it is, Green Goblin's hand to the wall because he has a knife or something, and he's like, yeah, no. It's you. I thought that was just so good. Love that.
Yeah, I think it's the web and then the laugh.
It is.
He webs the arm and then the and it's like,
it's really
down.
Incredible, that sense of yours. Something like that. It's good. It's good.
So good. It's so good. Man, Willem Dafoe makes this movie because what. You know, as I was going through it, and I'm like, oh, it's enjoying myself in the movie. But you know, you kind of have that in the back of your head, like where is this going? How like something's gonna go bottoms up. But I think the way in which it happens and the after effects are such a surprise. But it's also just helped so much by the fact that like Willem Dafoe is just grabbing you by the shoulders and it's like, look at my acting prowess, like every second he's on screen, and it's just so fucking good. It's so good.
It's just like, it's something so many Marvel movies could use and don't have, of just Willem Dafoe with a crazy look in his eyes going like, We don't have to choose, we're gods, we take. And it's like, damn, he's so good at this. Like, I love how evil you are right now.
I'll be honest, I liked him in this scene, but it wasn't until the fight after it that I was really like, and not like the whole fight, but just like a specific moment in the fight. I was like, holy shit, he's like, not that I didn't like him in this, but I think he like ascended to an even better level of than original Goblin performance here. And I think it all has to do with not having the fucking helmet on. It's so good. His face is a good face. And Green Goblin never has a helmet on in the comics. And I'm not saying this is why, but it does kind of, it's like, oh man, he didn't need to have that.
He doesn't have a helmet because his freaky goblin mask is just magically, by comics wizardry, conforms to his face and lets him emote.
Yeah, exactly. I wish, if we've probably talked about that weird CGI thing, not CGI, that like mechanical face they were going to do for him. The Willem Dafoe goblin face. Have you guys ever seen that?
Oh, I don't think we've talked about this, no.
Oh. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Anyway, go on. We can keep talking. What do you think? Okay, what did you think about the Willem Dafoe Aunt May kind of dichotomy, or I don't know what you call it, philosophies and stuff?
I mean, it's the Aunt May's like it's very I'm trying to think of like the word, like altruistic, right? Like, altruism wins the day. Like, you must do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And it's like, you're Spider-Man, and like that's what you're meant to do, despite all the shit that happened here today. And like we'll talk about it. Like it's okay, and you should still try and do the good thing. What that was very interesting, right? Is Goblin kind of really testing Spider-Man. Like, he has one line which I think really gets at Spider-Man's character, especially in the comics. I don't know how much we get into it in the movies, but Goblin says something like, all the strength in the world, but still pulls his punches and like holds back, or like something like that, right? Like, Spider-Man is way stronger than he has way more strength than he uses, but it's because if he uses full strength, he would like kill all his enemies. So like he has to pull his punches, so he's not just on a murder rampage. I think that was like pretty. Like, do you guys know what line I'm talking about?
I remember.
Yeah. I just found that like pretty interesting.
All right, so I put the thing in the chat, by the way. This is the original. This was one of the like options for the Green Goblin mask, and it's this like animatronic mask with big yellow eyes, and it like moves with his face. So it wouldn't completely allow you to see Willem Dafoe's wonderful face, but it does allow him to emote a little more. I think it's kind of cool.
That is interesting. It probably the technology just wasn't there for it, and that's why they didn't use it. But it looks cool.
I think that's right. Like I think the Power Rangers mask makes enough sense as like he's like a thing to make it easy to have him completely acting underneath, and you can see his eyes, and you can see his mouth sometimes. So like you do get a nice compromise there. But yeah, so I liked in this movie that he didn't wear the mask. I agree that the goggles are a little much, but what was I going to say? I liked how his philosophy here is just like, we're cool and they suck, so we should do what we want. I don't like how that convinced Sandman somehow. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it just, all the rest of them work, he doesn't.
And also, first of all, to your original question, I think it totally. I mean, it's classic Spider-Man stuff. Aunt May is saying, "With great power comes great responsibility," and Green Goblin is saying, "No, I mean, if you got power, you should use it to take whatever you want. Who cares?
Yeah.
Be evil." Ha 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 ha. And I think it works really well because these MCU Spider-Man movies have never articulated that core ethos of Spider-Man before. So I'm glad that they finally do, and they do it really well with villain who rules. Is Willem Dafoe the first person to be the best villain in two completely different, or is the Green Goblin, the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin is the first character to be the best villain in two different franchises?
That's pretty good.
It has to be, right? I feel like,
because how often does this even come up? Like, not even the best, what are the others that he would be competing with?
Let's think. I mean, like, I'm thinking of, like, other multiverse stuff, because, like, they did the Flash show where they would, like, bring back guys from the old... It's like Mark Hamill was on the Flash show, and he was pretty fun, but yeah. The best shot we have at beating this is Michael Keaton coming back in Batman whatever. Flash and Batman, mostly Batman, the movie. So that one will probably be something, but yeah, probably not as good as this. And yeah.
But to your point, I think it also doesn't really make sense for Doc Ock. I mean, it turns out Doc Ock is not convinced, but why does he just leave?
I think, he gets like electrocuted out of the building by Electro.
Yeah.
And for a second, I was like, oh no, the inhibitor chip broke again.
Same.
But
I also thought the same
thing.
But I guess at the moment he was just like, I got to get out of here because this is bad. And like,
the police are here and they're arresting random people for no reason.
Yeah, like
classic NYPD, am I right, fellas?
Exactly,
I mean, actually very realistic.
So I guess that's why. And he does like fall a lot too. I was like, oh no, is he gonna die here? That's really sad. But I mean, maybe his whole thought process was like, if I play the long game, I can be helpful at a critical moment. But it's probably not anything better than just like they didn't want to have him there. I don't know. But yeah, imagine the inhibitor chip just broke again and Peter was like, fuck, we gotta make another goddamn inhibitor chip.
He's like, can we just make a magnetized inhibitor chip or something like that?
Yeah,
like, this
can we put a helmet on him? What are our options for protecting his back of neck specifically? Electro also breaks the fabrication machine and takes the arc reactor from it, which is cool. I like him. I like his look too, because he was butt-ass naked, as he said before. So now he's wearing, like, I don't know, like construction worker clothes and stuff.
It works.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the best part is his face when he does the lightning, and it makes the little Electro mask. But
yes, that is fun.
Yeah, he's just
callbacks.
Great look. Yeah. What'd you guys think of the fight between Spider-Man and Willem Dafoe?
It's so good. It's so brutal. Reminds me a lot of the Netflix Daredevil fights, and not just because I'm rewatching Daredevil. But no, there's like a brutality of it where it's just like, first of all, the floors and ceilings of the apartment complex where they are in are made of paper mache because Willem Dafoe is slamming Spider-Man's body just through steel and concrete, like fucking.
Yeah, like we never in the old movies really got a sense for how strong either of them were, him or Spider-Man. So like, I was always just like, they're both pretty strong. Because I don't think Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Man 3, did anything really incredibly strong besides stopping that train that one time. But like, Amazing Spider-Man, like, catches a car over his head with like very little effort and stuff. And like, you're like, he's really strong. But yeah, with Spider-Man 1 Spider-Man, I was always like, I guess they're like twice as strong as a normal guy. But apparently they're way stronger than that.
Yeah, I mean, it like in terms of like a fight, like it's such a good fight. It's interesting because the fight takes place in close quarters. So like Spider's powers are kind of limited. Like he's much better in more open spaces. But he's just getting brutalized by Goblin, and it's just because it seems like Goblin has like that raw rage and ferocity that Peter Parker just can't tap into. And it's interesting, like it's also crazy that you have Willem Dafoe who is doing these stunts and like suplexing Spider-Man and tombstoning Spider-Man. Wow. And all this crap, and he's giving amazing line reads. Like, what can't Willem Dafoe do? My goodness.
The only way,
Team Magic.
The only way this fight could have been better is if Green Goblin gave Spider-Man a people's elbow.
Right? And I feel like the part that stands out to me were a bunch of power bombs. Like through floors. And those shots were pretty fun because it was like following them through, just falling through all of these floors. I wonder if Spider-Man even knew Green Goblin was supposed to be strong, Like when they fought, was he like, holy shit, I just thought this guy was like weird. He's actually stronger than any of the rest of these guys.
I thought this guy just had bombs and a glider. I thought this would be fine.
Yeah. Also, we haven't talked about this. He doesn't have the glider at this point. Like, he's got it. We see it in this universe. I love that he just like covers it up in the alleyway,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, quick, nobody find my glider.
Listen, you can throw nearly anything away in a New York City alley, and eventually someone will find it and take it home and use it as their new coffee table.
Yeah, just on TikTok the next day. I was doing some dumpster diving behind the Panera, found a lot of unused rolls, and this big giant metal glider thingy. Very, very dangerous. I am already dead because it skewered me. But
that's the fate of everyone who encounters this glider.
Yeah, right?
Skewered.
Don't get too close. It'll skewer you. The bit where he's punching him and Green Goblin is laughing and stuff is like the best part of the movie. I think that was the single moment of the movie that was like, holy shit, this movie fucking rules. But
this is probably my favorite action scene in the movie.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
It's amazing that the best action scenes don't involve a lot of CGI and are just like, show some good fighting and, maybe some brutality. And,
I would not say this scene involves zero CGI.
No, they really flew through those buildings.
The top. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's like over the top CGI.
Yeah, no, I feel like it was as practical as they could do,
Punchy fight, sure, the webbing and stuff, but, no one's like shooting like lasers at each other and, just a lot of nonsense.
Maybe another way in which the multiverse concept improved this movie is that none of the old villains, except for Electro, I guess, just shoot laser beams, so they had to come up with something else.
Yeah.
Right?
And Spider-Man does that one move where he like jumps over him, pulls the webs to the floor, and then just kicks him through the floor. That move was
That's
cool.
a great one.
Yeah.
Use that a lot in the video game. A lot in the video game.
Good one for the video game.
Nando, would you say in this movie you really feel like you're Spider-Man?
I do. I feel like Tom Holland feels like he's Spider-Man. I feel like the CGI effects guy who deals with that like feels like they're Spider-Man. That's all you need.
He is dating MJ, so
that's true. They're all dating all of them. It's great.
I thought that was questionable. I thought that wasn't.
I think it's official.
Yeah, they
no, like.
Oh, you think it's an op? You think it's an op?
No, I'm saying that I know they were dating at a point, but apparently they're not talking now about whether or not they are dating.
Well,
I'm pretty sure they just did interviews where she's like, "I'm so proud of my boyfriend, Tom Holland."
Oh, really? Because I thought during the press tour for Dune, they were asking Zendaya, like, "Oh, how's it with Tom Holland?" Like, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, as we all know, no one can talk about being in this movie or not at all. So that was probably it. Just like, I've never met Tom Holland. Seems like a really nice guy. Can't wait to see what they do with Spider-Man. Expecting great things.
All right, my bad then. I'm late on my entertainment news.
I mean, it is the rules though. When you do a Spider-Man movie, you have to start dating the main girl in real life. And
did that happen in all three of them?
Apparently, I just read today that it did with Toby and Kirsten Dunst a little bit. Like they didn't like have a full relationship, but apparently they did date.
Huh.
So,
but
I mean, you kiss a man upside down. That's you got to try it out for a little bit, right?
I mean, it seems like something they're all very excited about.
Yeah. Also, DJ, I think you have your causality backwards. I think they were being very cagey about it at first, and then eventually confirmed it.
I'm sorry. What was that word you used, Diggins?
Causality.
I feel like
causality.
That reminds me of someone, but I can't remember who.
Maybe, I don't know.
Character who loves.
Maybe we'll hear from him tomorrow or next week. I was gonna say, okay.
Say it, you bastard.
So, what do you think of the bit at the end of the fight where the thing happens?
Are we to spoil it? Full spoilers.
Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? Spoiled. At this point, we're gonna spoil the whole thing.
Listen, here's what I'll say. If you have been listening to this podcast without seeing it, being like, I don't mind spoilers for this movie. I haven't seen any, and it's fine. Up until that point, I think that's basically true. There is like a big twist we spoiled, but listen. If you genuinely would rather have big surprises, like, not spoiled for you, do not listen to this part.
Yeah, like, bow out now. Yeah, bow out now. So 3, 2, 1.
Sink.
Aunt May in the Iron Man suit. Just did not see it coming. I didn't see it coming.
I can't believe Marissa Tomei is the new Iron Man. It's crazy.
Well, they had all that setup where she kept looking at the Iron Man suit in Happy's closet and going, maybe this time, baby. And then what's his name came in from the multiverse, Terrence Howard, and he was like, "This is how you put it on. I'll never know, but maybe it can be helpful for you." So yeah, what did happen though? Besides all that stuff we just said,
something I was convinced they were gonna fake me out on.
Samesies.
Which was May is like running down the stairs to escape after everything broke bad. And right as she gets to the lobby, Peter and Green Goblin finally finish suplexing their way through the building and crash into the lobby. And this is where he really lays it on with like, your aunt and her obsolete morality. She's the reason you're this way, huh? Well, let me give you an object lesson. And he throws a pumpkin bomb at May as he is flying away. And Spider-Man dives to catch it, but doesn't do it. And it explodes right near her. And she is blown clear and is just laying down on the floor a little ways away, pretty much fine.
You gotta web that grenade.
Classic Marvel. Well, also, before that happens, Green Goblin, who I've never quite been able to figure out how he does this, but seems to be able to control the glider with his mind, summons the glider, and then that fucking bodies Aunt May.
Oh, right.
At that moment, I'm like, she is not going to survive this. But then it seems like she does, and I'm like, I guess she's not dying in this scene, because if she did, that would have been the thing that kills her. So it's like a really interesting little fake out there. But then
they fake you out again, because she just gets up after he's left.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, Peter, that was crazy. But it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, Peter.
And then you're like, oh no, no, you didn't say that line. Oh no.
Yeah, and then the classic, Peter is holding her, he pulls his hand back and he sees blood, and then she collapses. And she is actually dying for real. And I was like, wow, they're actually doing this? Wow.
And when she said the line, that's when you knew she was going to bite it.
Right, but I mean, like, I was surprised that, like, when that happened and then she fell and, like, they were really doing it, I was like, I really didn't think they would do this.
Yeah.
Not because it's a bad idea, but because they're cowards.
And Marissa Tomei probably loved money, and she's like, are you...
Oh, Marissa Tomei hates doing these movies.
She really does.
Oh, does she really?
She hates it. There's an interview that's so funny where someone's asking her, like, what made you decide to do these Spider-Man movies? She's like, well, I listened to my agent for once.
Oh my God.
And like that, like she's like annoyed about it. And then the person goes like, oh, but it really worked out, huh? She's like, yeah, we'll see. Like,
yeah.
Jeez.
She clearly hates doing them.
I mean, she should... I'm sure, I feel like for her and for other actors, I get the sense that this happens too. They like get a nice big paycheck. And especially in the first one, like before Tom Holland was the biggest actor, not like he's the biggest actor, but you know, it was like her, Michael Keaton, Iron Man, and in that, and like that were your real known people. But I would bet that getting the paycheck, doing the movie, all fine. Doing press, not great, but fine. And then like living your life and just meeting nerds on the corner, you're like, oh God, I can't. Yeah. I have to do this. This is my hell. Like, and the interviews also seem fucking awful. Like just having to, and I'm sure her questions are weird too. Besides like the other weird ones that are like, what kind of underwear do you wear? But like the ones that are like, will Aunt May, will this be the one where she finally puts on the costume like she did for one comic and becomes Spider-Man? Like, you just, you know, I mean, we've seen Andrew Garfield deal with that, but it just seems like it seems like a nightmare for the most privileged people on Earth. But still, what'd you say?
I feel like Andrew Garfield was down for the cause.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good at it, and I think he enjoyed it because it was so clear that it wasn't happening, or that it was happening. But I feel like for the beginnings, before any of this was clearly going on, I feel like he just gets that question, you know, like, oh, this movie by Steven Spielberg, that's great. So Spider-Man, what do you think about that? And it's just got to be like, especially for these actors that do a bit part, and it's like, you know, you're in one of these, and now it's like this is all you'll be asked for the rest of your life. Just seems like a lot.
I think
I'm saying Marissa Tomei is ungrateful, and she should appreciate this. I would be a better Aunt May than her. I would wear old lady makeup.
Wow.
Yep. I would do my best Rosemary Harris impression and just, oh, little baby Spider-Man. Yeah, it would be great.
I was going to say,
Diggins?
I don't have any examples to pull like I do for Mr. Tomei, but I think Andrew Garfield did start to get annoyed when he was doing press for other movies and people kept asking him if he'd be in Spider-Man.
Yeah, like
I mean, it's got to be annoying.
I feel like by this point, he's like, he knows that he will be in Spider-Man, so he's like, this is good. But I feel like for Andrew Garfield too, especially, it's got to be tough because you liked your Spider-Man and everyone hated it because of the movie. At least the second one is really, really rough.
Oh, they're both terrible, if you ask me.
Yeah. So it's like, you got to be like, and then Sony kind of shafted him, and you know, you look back in like 2015 when this probably wasn't on the table, but he was still getting asked about Spider-Man. And he was just like, I don't want to talk about these movies that were horrible. But, you know, it's all good now because just what happens right after that.
Marissa Tomei gets up and she says, "Oh, thank God, it's over."
Yeah,
I don't have to be
also,
asked ever again.
Your parents are alive, Peter, right over there.
Yeah, right.
Happy drives him in a car and he gets out and he's like, also Iron Man's in the car.
Happy shows up and the police arrest him for no reason.
Yep.
Hey, listen, he's a guy.
I mean, it is not totally his fault, but he did have that fucking machine, and that exploding was pretty much what started all this chaos. Like, he's not a good guy.
I mean, I don't think the police knew it was his, so
it's true.
Why they decided to arrest him is, you know, a curious decision.
Maybe he was like driving really, you know, maybe he was drunk, you know. Maybe it's something completely different. They just followed him there and he stopped, and then they arrested him. It was like, no, this guy stole something from a subway, and we've just been arresting him, but he's here now.
But yeah, so the cops are there to take down Spider-Man. They're very clear on that, by the way. They're like, "Spider-Man, we know you're here. We're gonna fucking kill you, man." So yeah, they're there for Spider-Man. They want blood.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's mid grieving over the death of his aunt.
But then the most important thing in the movie happens, because they do the thing that the movie was pretty much probably pitched and sold as. What do?
They reveal that Ned knows magic.
That's the pitch.
Yeah, okay, real quick on that.
That was the big event everyone was waiting for.
He does know magic. He knows, okay. So, do they know how the ring works? I guess he saw it used a couple times.
Yeah.
Apparently he's like a big Doctor Strange nerd, because he's like, I can't believe I'm in the Sanctum Sanctorum and everything. So I guess he's maybe watched all the YouTube videos of Doctor Strange and the stuff he does.
Right? Yeah. I'm fascinated by characters like Doctor Strange in the Marvel Universe. Because, like, Iron Man, who gives a shit? But, like, Doctor Strange, it's like, well, there's magic now, and you guys are all just going to school? Okay. Is there an MIT for magic that exists here? Because that should be a thing.
I mean, surely, like, most people are like, that's bullshit. He has, like, Iron Man repulsors under his jacket or whatever.
That's true.
I have to imagine most people in the MCU think Doctor Strange is full of shit.
That's what I think, honestly. I don't even think he's real. I think it's just a guy with wires and CGI. I
think you might be right. Yeah. And with an army of drones to make it appear that he is, like, flying and doing other cool stuff.
Jake Gyllenhaal told me that that's what happens, so I can't help but believe him. But, yeah, so that is weird, though, that Ned can make portals. I mean, it's fun, but it's weird. The conversation between them is good, too, with Mary Jane, where it's like, we should press the button, and it's like, no.
Oh, with MJ?
Whatever.
It's not her name.
Boo.
Name's not Mary Jane. They're very specific on this point.
Bring back the Merovingian. Boo.
Were you not here when the Merovingian was back?
Yeah, well, I just preferred him. He wasn't so pedantic.
But anyway, they actually do the other thing that besides Ned being a magical character. Also, speaking of people that get asked the same question a bazillion times, that kid gets asked constantly if he is going to be Hobgoblin. And I feel like he just every time is like, probably not. Like, it doesn't seem like the direction we're going with these. That would be nice.
Why would he be Hobgoblin?
Because that character's Hobgoblin.
Oh, really?
There have been two Hobgoblins. So I'm going to Google this because I can't remember which is which. But I believe he is the second Hobgoblin.
I feel like they go out of their way in this movie to be like, that will never happen.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But was that like a bit or, you know?
It was a bit related to the fact that, so yeah, the first one is Roderick Kingsley. And he, if I remember correctly, just finds some Green Goblin stuff and makes a costume out of it. Mm-hmm. But at some point, Ned is the Green Goblin as well.
Hobgoblin,
right. So yeah,
that would be interesting if they went in that direction.
Yeah, and I don't hate it.
Now now there's goblin stuff for him to use.
That's true.
That's true.
And the movie could go in a direction where it would actually make sense, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like the way the movie ends, if it turned out that Ned one day was Hobgoblin, I wouldn't be like, well, that's not crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So much could happen, and especially where we are at the end of this movie. So, I don't know.
But yeah, so then they start opening portals to other Spider-Men, and that's pretty good, isn't it?
So your movie theaters didn't freak out like mine did. My movie theater could not handle it. I couldn't hear the line reads. I didn't mind because it was like genuine enthusiasm, but it was just like screaming and just like people freaking the fuck out when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were on screen.
Like I said, I was in a much less packed theater. It was only a few people, but you could hear some people like, "Oh, yeah, hey, it's that guy. That's cool." The third audience reaction. The third audience reaction I got in this movie. The first being, I think I mentioned.
Yeah.
And the second one, which I didn't mention, was a little child who was very sad when May died.
Aww, that's upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like a little. It's probably like a 6-year-old kid like decked out in Spider-Man gear on his way out, and like he seemed like like pretty happy. And I'm like, if you're like a kid, like. Do you even like know what's going on or care? Like, oh, it's just cool. There's like 3 Spider-Man. That's cool. Like these people mean nothing to you. Like,
yeah, kids are dumb.
Yeah.
I thought the Hulk movie was good, the one from 2005 when I saw it. I was like, this movie's great. And I remember seeing I think my mom who went with me and seeing like a look in her face. It was like, was it though? And I was like, oh no, maybe I'm wrong about all this stuff.
You were so dumb as a kid, Nando, that you thought the Daredevil movie had good points.
I still think it has good points. It's redeeming. It's charming.
Whatever you say, Nando.
I do say. Yeah, I mean, I think the harder part for me with a 6-year-old is like, does he know who Tobey Maguire is? Or does he just think that's
what I'm
a
saying,
different...
right? There's nothing specific there for the child.
Well, we haven't actually said, but yeah, Andrew Garfield shows up at this point.
And he's in like full Spider-Man gear in like an alleyway, just bumping around. And what happened, it seems like, is he just was also brought through the portal.
I mean, he knows himself. Right?
Yeah.
Peter Parker knows Peter Parker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, so that's cool. What do you think of him in this?
There's some gags. Andrew Garfield in this. So I'd alluded to it earlier. They kind of just make up a new personality and backstory for Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker. Not backstory necessarily, but a character arc. That's what I mean. They make up a new personality and character arc for Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker because the one that exists is bad and nobody likes. Which I enjoyed the tacit acknowledgement that those movies were bad in that they barely use its villains and just make up new personalities for people so that they can be good instead of bad.
Yeah.
But,
it's tough because there are moments in the Amazing Spider-Man movies where it's like, damn, that's like a really good Spider-Man. And it would be cool if they carried this through line throughout the movie. Like, remember at the beginning of Spider-Man 2 where they're doing like like right after he breaks up with Gwen, and they're doing like the montage of, oh, he's just like full-time Spider-Maning now. And like he just like saves like a kid. Not saves, but like a kid's being bullied and he like scares the bullies. And he's like, let me walk you home. And it's like, oh yeah, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. This is like the vibe. And he's like, it's so cool that you made a windmill, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that would be cool if that's who this was the whole time.
Yeah. So he's a little goofier, a little more endearing. And I don't know. I do like him in this movie. I think he has a kind of vulnerability to him that is good and is interesting.
I honestly liked him for the most part in like his movies. I don't think he was the problem with the Spider-Man movies.
I don't think he was the problem, but I think Peter Parker in those movies was like everybody so poorly written that like it was hard to see the good Spider-Man he could be underneath it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like a lot of people I remember back in the day were like, give Tobey Maguire another Spider-Man movie, so great, everyone loves him. And that's true, I guess. But also, I feel like now people are like, man, he is good and his movies are bad, so Andrew Garfield should get more Spider-Mans. Like, that is just like,
yeah.
I think the the opinion that I've seen the Raimi stands switch to. And I think they're right. Or just like there is space for him to show up in one of the 50 spin-offs they're making. And like, I wouldn't mind seeing him again.
It would be cool if he could like get like a second, not like a renaissance, but just another chance or like a crack at this, because he's good. Like, you know, he should, like, the same way I just want to see more Willem Dafoe be Green Goblin. It's like, yeah, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I am mostly enjoying this experience.
I would like to see the movie that Andrew Garfield describes later that did not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do think he gets like a really fun moment near the end of the movie, but we can put a pin in it and talk about that when it actually happens.
We'll talk about that when it happens. I know what you're mentioning. I know what you're saying here, and it is a good moment.
Yeah.
But then, he comes through and bumps around a bit, and then Tobey Maguire walks through, and he's like, I'm not Spider-Man, but I'm Peter Parker.
I'm Peter Parker, yeah.
Yeah. And he's fine. Yeah.
I think he's maybe less suited to Marvel quippiness, but I think he's still doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. And it's good because he's clearly bringing that more, like, mature, because, like, Tobey Maguire's, like, 50, but like more like a mature Spider-Man that, like, I don't know. You get like the phases of Spider-Man, right? Tom Holland's the teenager, Andrew Garfield's like, you know, the journeyman, and like Tobey Maguire's the vet.
The professional Spider-Man.
Yeah. Doesn't wear the suit on the outside, wears the suit on the inside.
Yeah. What would you do if you were Spider-Man and you just got dropped into a different dimension? That'd be weird, right?
That would be weird. I honestly like is it Andrew Garfield who like just starts going like string theory, multiverse? Oh, it's real? Is it real? He just like starts doing like physics out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
That's probably close to the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That one would have in such a scenario.
I would Spider-Verse it and head for Aunt May.
Yeah, right? I feel like there are things like that where you'd go like, okay, this person, like, yeah. There are definitely some touchstones, but they just hang out in like random alleyways and stuff. And I mean, it works, so who cares? Do you think they were like on their way to stop Dr. Octopus when they both heard about him, and then they got there and he was just gone? Like, oh, I guess. But then I guess Green Goblin would have been there, so they probably would have had to fight him. I don't know.
You guys don't have one of these?
Yeah. How weird do you think it was that when they must have explained who all the villains were, and they were like, and then this one, he's Green Goblin, he's got a glider, and he makes a crazy face, and ha ha ha. And Andrew Garfield's like, oh, no, my one? And they're like, no, nobody likes your one.
Yeah.
Most people forgot it even happened. We're going to completely leave him out of it.
You know what?
All right, it's probably fine.
You know what's seen in those hanging out talking about our universes things I was sad never happened?
Which one?
Well, either for villains or for heroes. It could have worked for either. Just for somebody to be like, oh yeah, and that blowhard J. Jonah Jameson, and then someone looks at the Daily Bugle website in this universe is like, actually, that's the same one, huh? That's weird.
How odd.
Yeah,
he looks exactly the same.
It worked for that guy. Andrew Garfield's like, I never actually met mine. It was all over email.
Yeah. It's the same name, I guess. So like, that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe somebody realized that they'd never get one as good as this one, so they didn't even bother.
Yeah. I do think this movie is interesting implications-wise for future movies in the Spider-Man timeline, because it doesn't seem like wherever... I doubt at this point they'll do any of the villains we've already seen. So, like, no Lizard, no Green Goblin, no Dr. Octopus, no Electro, no Sandman.
In this movie.
Yeah,
in
like
this movie, no.
Yeah, like in future movies, like Spider-Man's villain pool just got deflated significantly.
Well, the B plan, if they couldn't get enough people to agree to come back for this multiverse movie to work,
right?
They were going to do a Kraven the Hunter movie, and he's not here. So
I think that's a great idea, except they're doing the Aaron Taylor Johnson Kraven movie that is also separate universe one that Sony's doing, and that one actually seems like it's going to happen, much like Morbius. So I don't know what to expect from, like, who is left? Big Wheel? It's got to be Big Wheel.
Scorpion. Could do Scorpion.
They could do Scorpion. I guess they have Matt Gargan in that universe. And he's just some guy who fell off a boat once. And they could do Black Cat. I think everybody wants Black Cat. And she's, like, in the Amazing Spider-Man one, but, like, not really.
Felicia Day, right?
Felicia Day?
The actress? Wait.
No, you're thinking of Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones!
It's Felicia Hardy is the name of the character.
I was like, Felicia Day should not be Black Cat. DJ.
I did a billion things.
There's a lot of Felicias, and yeah.
Jen or so.
It is confusing that her name is Felicia, and then the actress's name is Felicity. Like, that is a little much. So the Spider-Mans all team up. They go find Peter Parker, and they're like, it's sad that your mom died. It was good. Not mom, I guess aunt, but Aunt Mommy. Yeah. I do think it's funny that Spider-Man's like, you guys can never understand. And then Tobey's like, you're right. And then Andrew Garfield's like, but if you change like a couple of details, it seems very similar to something I went through. And we all kind of did that at least once. Some of us have done it twice.
No one wants to hear that, though, when they're grieving.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know what it's like. It's like, oh, good for you. Yeah. I have to feel it now as well. So you know that when you went through it Blue, so let me go through this bullshit.
Well, I do feel like he's like, you don't know what it's like. And it's like, I know, but I am you. I don't know if you've come to terms with that yet, Spider-Man, but we're the same guy.
Yeah, like, I literally do is the thing. Like, normally when people say that, they don't. You're right, and you shouldn't, and you don't want to listen to it. But, like, literally I do.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then they go and cure all the villains together, which is pretty funny. Yeah. I like that when they come up with
the villains in an afternoon in a high school science lab.
Yeah. I mean, like,
we can do it with the power of togetherness.
The only one that is really tricky, well, like, so they already have Electro done. They made his thing, it just didn't work.
They just
he didn't
gotta
use it.
Make it again, yeah.
Doc Ock's thing, they also already have, and as far as they know, maybe it's not working, but even if it wasn't, they just have to make that again. I like that Andrew Garfield's like, we already did this for Lizard, so I can just make that again.
That's right? It's just like a tacit acknowledgement. Like, oh yeah, we doing it again, folks.
And then Green Goblin, they come up with the anti-serum, which Aunt May tried and didn't work. Was it just because they didn't do it right?
Well, but that is the one Peter made. Toby is... Right. Sorry, the one that Tom Holland made. Toby is like, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I'll make that.
Yeah.
And I guess because he's had so much more time to think on it, presumably because of Harry.
Yeah.
He actually comes up with one that works.
And then the last one is Sandman. And then they come up with his too.
And no point where they like, it's probably fine if we just leave him, you know. It's
he's cool actually. He probably doesn't need anything.
Yeah, if we convince him, I think he'll help us.
Like, yeah, right?
It's kind of weird that he's not helping us now. Like, actually tracking all his statements, it really doesn't add up. But yeah.
Have we tried the power of persuasion?
Yeah. Yeah, some moments in there were fun. Any that stuck out to you guys?
I honestly felt like this got a little too loose, a little too like leave the camera rolling. All this like banter between the Spider-Men. Like, it was fun, and there were some bits I liked. Trying to think. And
we get it again in the next scene when they're on the like
that
scaffolding.
Was slightly better.
I think so too. Yeah, I think the scaffolding stuff was better.
But
I get what you mean, Diggins, where they were kind of like
it had the same problem to me, where it was like, all right, we've set up the climax, and now let's kill 5 minutes like bantering about Spider-Man stuff, and I'm like, do we have to? It's not bad, but it feels weird to put it here.
I think the Ned thing was cute. When Ned tried to, see if Peter had a best friend. And that is something that I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He's not here. That's nice. Thank God. Half of these guys could be Green Goblins if we didn't hate all of them retroactively. Right. Like, just a swarm of goblin guys. Also, real bummer, no Rhino. It's a real shame.
We weren't getting Paul Giamatti.
I think Paul Giamatti, I think they asked him and he couldn't make it.
That didn't stop most of them. That didn't stop Thomas Hayden Church and the Lizard. I guess, like, with him, it's like, what do you have to cure? Just unplug his big robot.
Yeah, he's really actually not, like, a tragic, sympathetic villain like all these other ones. He's just, like, a criminal who decides to get a big robot suit.
Yeah. I do think it's cute when they are talking about all their villains, and he's like, this is the one that I fought. Like when they're going over aliens, and I fought this alien, I fought this alien. I get a guy with a robot suit, and they're like, how'd it go fighting him? And he's like, we never found out. It started really interesting, and then I can't remember the rest.
A lot of blurry.
What'd you think of the interactions on the thing? Some of those are pretty good.
Like the fight scaffold?
No,
Like
I'm thinking like when they were on the scaffolding.
Oh, just talking. I mean, the webbing conversation.
Yeah.
Wish they brought up those fluids.
I know.
You don't, though. You think you
do.
do, but you don't.
I do. I feel like I think maybe my favorite line in the movie, and my favorite like delivery of a line in the movie, besides like all the Willem Dafoe stuff, but like if we're just talking about like, isn't it fun to have Spider-Man together? I did love when Andrew Garfield was explaining Max, and he's like, he was the sweetest guy, and then he went crazy because he fell in a vat of electric eels, and Tobey Maguire's just like, yeah, that'll do it. That was so funny to me. And I feel like I like that dynamic of just like, this is what it is like to do, Spider-Man. Like, we've all seen enough of this that, like, it's like, we almost got that in Spider-Verse, but most of it was just, it was seen through the eyes of Miles Morales, who had never dealt with any of this before. But I like seeing all these three guys who are like, yeah, we have different, similar issues. Also, like, yeah, they all know everybody's name, right? Like, they know who Norman Osborn is now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As information that is shared. Yeah, so like a Max Dillon can't just show up.
There's nothing a superhero movie hates more than the comic book name.
It is a silly name compared to the others. The others aren't that silly. They're all just boring. And he's from New York in these, which he's never German. He's usually from New York. But if he's from another country, I'm like, okay, that's a little weird, but whatever. What are you going to do? But in this, it's like Otto Octavius from fucking where? Like Brooklyn? Cool. I don't know, man. You're a weirdo. He's cool. I like him. And he's not involved in this at all, which is good. But then maybe he will be. Who knows? I do think they could have...
Too many.
Well, it feels like they could have gotten his attention and been like, I guess they all like really nailed all the science parts of this, but if they had questions, they could have been like, called him, I don't know.
Yeah.
By phoning into the Bugle. Also, the Daily Bugle. Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
There's a scene where it appears that the Daily Bugle is like J. Jonah Jameson's basement, kind of. Right?
Yes.
Does it grow to humongous proportions over the course of like 2 days? Is that what happens?
He must get a financial backer or something, because he comes in a legitimate studio instead of just like his crappy basement. Yeah. That totally happens. Yeah.
I mean, I think that like initial announcement where he unmasks Peter is like months before that finale.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So there's time for him, and he probably got a lot of fame and notoriety off that. So actually, I think that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense. I loved it. Like the supplements thing was amazing. That was really like the other best joke of the movie. Yeah, he's great. I think it's cute how Spider-Man was like, we're going to go fight the villains on the Statue of Liberty because of second chances. And also because it's good for us to swing at and stuff.
They're constructing a Statue of Liberty with Captain America's shield?
It appears so.
Well, the Statue of Liberty was destroyed in one of the movies, wasn't it?
I don't know. Was it?
Which movie?
Like X-Men 1.
Because I know there's the line in Hawkeye. You got that fancy new Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, she does say that.
And I wasn't sure. I'm like, is that a reference to something that's going to happen in Spider-Man?
Yeah, and I think it is just like they wanted to put a Captain America shield up. Wouldn't that be great?
But I guess not.
I mean, yeah. I can't think of a time the Statue of Liberty was destroyed in the MCU. Maybe it'd be funny if it was about to be destroyed in Hawkeye. Like Hawkeye ends with him shooting an arrow and destroying the torch. Whoops. That might come in handy later. But yeah, I don't think that's brought up.
We can't get the writing straight.
No, you're right. I just checked, and it was never destroyed. They just decide to rebuild it for some reason.
Well, after the hit musical Rogers, everybody had Captain America
fever.
Yeah, they had to put that shit everywhere.
It's very important.
I mean, it's cool, I guess. Seems like he could just get his own monument. Going through a lot of trouble.
I don't know why we're rebuilding possibly the most famous monument in America to give him something.
Yeah. Also, like, it's his shield, but the war criminal guy just used it to kill the guy from Falcon Winter Soldier. So, like...
Right, but actually it turns out the war criminal guy is cool and we all like him, so...
That's true. I forgot about that part. Oh, man. So then they have a big fight. Also, I do like the part where they are like, "No, Andrew Garfield, your movies were good. You're a good Spider-Man." Even though the movies might not be good.
They are specifically, "You're cool, Andrew Garfield." Like, it's specifically like because he's saying like, "Oh man, I'm so boring because of the things I did aren't as cool." And they're like, "No, don't center it on yourself. You're amazing, Andrew Garfield. Maybe everything else you said is true, but you're amazing."
Yeah.
Love that. I love that so much.
It's very cute. And, and then they go fight the villains. The villains all show up. Not all of them, 3 of them for some reason. Green Goblin's just taping more shit to his suit. And getting ready for the big fight. Cool.
Well, they arrive in the order of who is most to least likely to be watching the Daily Bugle.
Who do you think is... I guess that makes sense.
Because you got... who shows up first? The Lizard? Electro?
All 3 of them, I feel like, show up right around the same time. It's like a Lizard, Electro, Sandman.
And then Doc Ock, and then Green Goblin. Who are highly educated. Well, I guess also the Lizard and Electro are highly educated. So... Yeah. I don't know, man. This joke fell apart.
It's okay. It's great. The bit where... So they all show up, and then they're like... When does Doctor Strange come back into the picture?
Well, once he escapes the mirror dimension, which is when they're on the Statue of Liberty.
Right
in the middle of this fight.
Okay.
I believe it's right as the Lizard gets cured.
Yeah, so that's fun.
It's funny how they had to have like the little moment of conflict. Not conflict, where it's like, we're not good as working as a team. And then Tom Holland's like, well, I work on a team. Kinda. That once, I guess. Captain Marvel saved my bacon, but,
Yeah.
Let's work together. And then they just do it via the power of, better call-outs.
Mm-hmm.
Every gamer knows call-outs are important.
Oh, my God, yeah. If there was a ping system they could use to identify villains to kill.
In the middle of this podcast, I'm making a call-out post for DJ and all the cancelable stuff he's done.
Oh, no.
Mask off, baby, just like Norman. We're showing everybody. So what is the Spider-Man's plan?
It's distribute cure to each guy.
Well, after they screw up because they can't work together, they're like, we're going to focus on one at a time.
And that's interesting. Why is Sandman the first one?
Theoretically, he's the most disruptive. Although we talked about this during Spider-Man 3. How much sand is there in New York City?
Is he getting it from, the river? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a big old man of sand.
They are on Liberty Island, so if he's getting it from the sand beds of the river, a lot of material to work with.
Well, there you go. Then he's the most dangerous one. More than Electro.
But so how do they beat him?
Tobey Maguire lets him chase him into the Statue of Liberty itself, where I guess, because it's an enclosed space, he, fills it up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That was cool.
They play keep away with the little whatever, I forget what they call it. It's basically the same thing he stepped into, but reverse, I guess. That one is the least. I'm not the most flimsily explained.
Yeah, I'm not sure they ever give it a name. I don't think they really talk about how they cure him. They're just like, give us the thing for curing Sandman.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's gonna work? I don't know.
Don't worry about it.
It's pretty good. And then they go to do Lizard, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
And Lizard is just gas, right?
Yeah.
He seems really easy to deal with.
Actually, guys, what I noticed was in Amazing Spider-Man 1, the gas that is the cure is the blue gas, whereas the green gas is the one that turns you into a lizard. So the gas color should have been blue in this movie, not green.
Wow. Destroyed by facts and logic.
What if they did that and he just turned into a blue lizard and they were like, oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Of course it would be green. Why would it be blue? And then Electro, as he is in all of these fucking movies, just outclasses all of the good guys.
Yeah, of course he does.
Sandman should too, but he's a little dumb. He's not dumber, but he's just I'm gonna make a big face and roar at them. Whereas Electro's just I'm really fast, I can shoot him with electricity. I really don't think there's anything they can do to deal with me. How does he get defeated?
They stick him with the thing.
Who's they?
The little magnet. Isn't it,
Well, you see, DJ, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are doing their darndest to stick him with the thing, but he's too powerful, and they can't get close to him before he shocks them away.
Yeah.
And then who would show up but Dr. Otto Octavius, who seems like he's going to choke him out, and he's on Electro's side. But then he does a stunning face turn and uses his big old tentacles to rip the arc reactor off Electro and then stick the cure on him.
What a guy!
Which works instantly this time instead of taking like 20 minutes of charge up.
Well, because it was mostly charged up already.
But it was charged up because it was drawing the electricity out of his body. I assume he's replaced it with more electricity since then with the arc reactor.
Maybe they put a bigger thing on it, so it just...
I mean, maybe his body was like channeling the arc reactor power, so once that was gone, he had another, 1% of electro battery to deal with? I don't know.
Now, this is kind of a problem I have with this movie a little bit, which is Doc Ock is such a big part of the first half, and then he's the only, fully cured on their side guy in the second half, but he doesn't show up or do anything except for this one little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like the movie could have benefited more from having him as a counterpart to Green Goblin instead of just this other Spider-Man.
He fights Green Goblin while this is all going on or something?
No. I mean, I think a part of me feels like it would have been better if he was the one comforting Peter right afterwards.
Oh.
Being because he's the proof of, you did the right thing. You really helped me.
Yeah.
And having that, this person who used to be one of your villains being thank you for what you've done for me. Please don't give up. Whatever. I don't know. I just wish he'd done a little bit more. He has a nice moment with Toby here, which is pretty good, but I don't know. I wanted a little bit more from him in the second half, because Alfred Molina is great, and I always want more Alfred Molina.
Yeah, I agree, Diggins. I think that it's a stark juxtaposition between just screen time and what he's able to do. And yeah, I could have taken either, by the way. If Goblin was there and Octavius was fending him off, and then he beats Otto, it's we gotta take him. But yeah, if it was pretty light.
It would make sense too if he helped the Spider-Man, because he is also a Spider-Man. Canonically,
true.
He is the superior Spider-Man, so he joining forces would have made sense. But also, they didn't want to do that. I don't know. I guess they were. I imagine most of the thought process there was the whole fucking point of this movie is 3 Spider-Men at once, and every scene that's not getting us there, or adding extra stuff there, get rid of it. Have them say goodbye to all the teachers immediately. It's 3 Spider-Man at once. The movie.
In the end, there's probably just a little too much going on in this movie to really work in more stuff with Doc Ock, but I don't know. I think it would have been good.
I agree. I feel
with you, Diggins.
He could have been useful there. It would have been cute to see him and Toby working together, flipping off of each other and doing cool backflips and shit and beating up, I don't know, the lizard, I guess. Also, what does the lizard mean to Tobey Maguire?
Oh, I mean, nothing,
well,
right?
He knew Dr. Kirk Connors for 3 movies.
Yeah, is he
man, I wonder if this would have eventually happened to my Dr. Connors. I guess we'll never find out.
Yeah, I feel like it would be not a big deal, but I wonder if he already dealt with this too, and he's yeah, fucking lizards, man. He just loves doing this stuff. He's a weirdo. Can't really help him, but yeah, because he's the only one that they share, I think. Besides Green Goblins, but they're not even the same guy. There's the new Goblin Harry relationship, but both of them aren't in this. But there aren't 2 Sandmen, there aren't 2 Electros, there aren't 2 Dr. Octopuses. But then, after they all finished helping and stuff, and also Doctor Strange is back or something, who to our wandering eyes should appear.
Before we get there, DJ had his nice moment he wanted to talk
about.
Yeah.
So there's the element of keep away with Ned and Zendaya and the box, and it basically gets to a point where the portal can't close, so they're now a part of the battle and the scaffolding, and Zendaya falls, and Holland's Spider-Man tries to save her but gets derailed by, I think it's Goblin, or it might be someone else.
It is Goblin.
This is when Green Goblin is first showing up. He throws the bomb that knocks her off, and then he slams into Tom Holland.
And then Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, sees this, and he's like, oh my god, and jumps to save her. And he does, and it's very akin to the scene where he failed to save Gwen, and he is able to save MJ, and he gets kind of like choked up about it that he was able to save this life. So it was a nice kind of little redemptive, not redemptive is the right word, but certainly a great moment just for the character to have, to be able to make the save. So Holland Spider-Man doesn't have to go through that.
And we did see, he does say at one point, I think it's him, he says while they're chatting as Spider-Man, like, I lost my Gwen, and then I got kind of dark. And it seems like if there was a third Spider-Man movie, it would have been like evil Spider-Man or something.
See, that's what I was talking about, where I was like, for Andrew Garfield, they made up a character arc because the ones in the movie don't exist.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would like to see that character arc that you're describing, Andrew Garfield, because it didn't happen in your movies.
Yeah. And, Tobey Maguire got to do it. Peter Parker hasn't quite done it yet, but I don't know.
You mean Tom Holland?
Or, Tom Holland.
The thing about Tom Holland Dark Turn is that I wouldn't believe it, because he's a 6-year-old child.
I mean, he's like a little bit more of a man now because he has kind of different hair. And that's always...
He's super Uncharted man now.
I know,
he's the most manly man.
He's an action hero man, just like Mark Wahlberg, role model.
Yeah.
So then Green Goblin,
Mark Wahlberg.
Green Goblin blows up the box thing, which is fun. And then the whole portal opens and everything's fucked. It's very bad.
What will we do?
Beat up Green Goblin. That's what.
Yeah.
Just beat him.
Well, I guess gotta kick this guy's ass.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of that fight? That fight's fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not as good as the first fight. But what are you gonna do? It's like, it's a big third act Marvel movie fight. You know what you're getting at this point. We don't have a sky beam. We have a sky hemisphere that's tearing, I guess. That's in lieu of our sky beam.
Honestly, it's not much of a fight. It's pretty much just Tom Holland kicking the shit out of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
I like the bit where, that line where he says, I'm going to kill you myself, and then Willem Dafoe's like, that a boy, or something. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he just
that's some Palpatine stuff, where you're just outright going like, yes, you're turning evil, which is exactly what I want.
Which I don't know why Goblin wants that. He gonna die. What does he care if Peter turns evil in the process?
I mean,
it's not like he'll come back stronger. If you strike me down, I'll come back 10 times stronger. That's not happening.
Well, that's like Palpatine, where it's like, I'm losing. Actually, I'm winning because this is what I wanted all along. Just kind of moving the goalposts a little bit to I didn't actually want to steal the box or blow it up. I wanted to make Spider-Man go crazy.
Whoa.
And then he kills Green Goblin. Pretty cool. Or does he?
Yep.
Not actually. No.
I was really excited when he picked up the thing, though. I was like, fucking do it, bro. But nah. He was so mad. But then what happens instead?
Tobey Maguire is like, not on my watch, and goes and stops him from fatally stabbing the Green Goblin. Implied,
with
but
the
not
glider,
right.
which is the stabbing implement.
Yeah, a dramatic irony.
It's what you use to stab a Green Goblin.
Or anyone, honestly.
Or anyone, yeah.
But, implied to be like, hey, man, we were talking earlier about how we went to a dark place when we had our loss and it was bad for us. So don't do that.
Yeah, and also, me letting Green Goblin stab himself kind of caused every problem post, that. So it's good that I've stopped that from happening. But, this has to be so weird for them. As weird as it is for Spider-Man, he doesn't know any of these villains, Mm-hmm. But there's a whole movie here where Peter Parker from Spider-Man's 1, 2, and 3 has to fight all his villains again. They're all alive. That's fucked. He doesn't have any screen time with Green Goblin, but it would be interesting if he did.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so then what happens? Then some really cool stuff. They wait, there was something. Oh, we haven't really talked about this. I love Green Goblin's costume in this movie. Especially the original. Man. I think the additions are so cool.
I agree. I wholeheartly agree.
And he has the little satchel with pumpkin bombs in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all purple bullshit on the green, and then the hoodie. I do think it's funny that he has the knife that's attached to his wrist. Yeah. And if you look at pictures of it, that costume is really just that costume plus a big knife on it. it looks like when everybody went and had like a couple hours to kill before the big fight, he just started taping shit to his Green Goblin costume. It's awesome.
I mean, they did the best they could, and pretty successfully, I would say, to like make it as much classic Goblin look as possible. So, like,
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Besides his face not being green, like, and besides, I guess I don't love the transition from like anybody that used to have, not like anybody, but like I'm trying to think of some of the other guys that have done this, but like characters that didn't used to have a hood getting a hood because it like modernizes the costume, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I like that his stupid hat thing was like his little, you know, that like cap that Scrooge wears to bed is like his usual hat instead of a hoodie, but whatever. It's a compromise. All the body is terrific.
Yeah, agreed.
And then Peter Parker is like, make everybody forget I'm Spider-Man or forget I'm Peter Parker, whatever that means. What do you guys think that means?
I think it means that it's weird, right? Like, is Peter Parker erased from everyone's memory, but he still has like a social security card, right?
Does he? I don't know.
This is what confused me. My understanding of it was that, it's just everybody forgets that Peter Parker existed or that they knew him. But I don't think it physically alters the universe. He still has birth records and social security cards and like should still be registered at his school. Like, none of his teachers will remember him, but they'll be like, well, there's a Peter Parker on this attendance list, so you are supposed to be here. Like, it's implied that he stops going to high school, but I don't know why. 'Cause
I guess it'd be too weird.
Maybe, but like, I don't know, man. You were all jazzed about college. I think you'd want to finish your high school education.
Well, he's doing the GRE, so you know.
Was it
not
GRE?
incorrect.
I thought it was the... Wait, is that what it was?
The GRE is how you get into grad school.
Yeah, he was doing a GED.
Oh, GED. That's right.
So, like, he was just starting over on high school. He's giving
not starting over. Like, GED, right, is just like a test, right?
Yeah,
sure.
It's just like, it's a test you can take as an adult that if you pass is the equivalent of a high school diploma.
But yeah, like, I don't think he has a social security card if he has to do that.
No, he definitely does. He wouldn't be able to do that if he didn't have a social security card.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you gotta like register for it.
Yeah.
So I guess like nitpicking this aside, we can nitpick that more because there's like some specific.
We could have spent the entire 3 hours or so of this podcast so far doing nothing but nitpicking that.
Yeah.
On the substance of like him, you know, going just have everyone forget who Peter Parker was. And Doctor Strange is like, but kid, that means we'll all forget you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't care, just do it. I don't know, like, what did you guys like think of that? Like, as a moment. I thought it was great. I don't know. Really pulled, like, for me, like, a lot of emotional, you know, like, pathos at the end of the movie that I quite enjoyed.
I feel like by that point, we had already gotten a big sacrifice from him, so I didn't really care. Like, I get it.
Oh, interesting.
I understand what they're going for, and I think most of it is just they want to do a hard reset on Spider-Man to make him the character that he probably should have been this whole time. And
right.
That's what they're getting out of it. But, like, so, okay. Like, Spider-Man still exists in universe, though, right?
Yeah, nobody forgot Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But so if Doctor Strange went to Spider-Man went to Doctor Strange, was like, hi, I'm Peter Parker. This is what happened. That's okay, right?
Yeah, he could do that.
He should do that.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely. Yeah. Start with him, just so that if the other Avengers show up and like there's a lot of confusion, he can kind of clear it up because he did the spell. And I feel like if someone came to Doctor Strange and was like, hey, you made a really irresponsible spell that kind of almost broke reality and stuff, and he'd be like, oh, I guess so. Because also, yeah, I don't know where all those fucking lizards and guys came from, but we all remember that happened, I assume.
Yeah.
But
I guess he remembers casting a spell for... Maybe, like, if it's a thing in your life that you can't possibly forget, you remember it as being Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, Spider-Man helped us beat Thanos, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But then he goes, I'm Spider-Man. I'm the guy who helped you beat Thanos.
For me, I did...
Thank you for helping us beat Thanos.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that it was like, wait, Spider-Man has to sacrifice things to do the right thing. He's got to lose stuff because being Spider-Man means that you've got to give up stuff all the time, and it sucks and it's kind of hard. Wow. It's almost like this is a Spider-Man movie. I haven't come to expect that from the MCU.
Yeah, he just is that now. He's like, he's the Spider-Man that they probably should have been making movies about before, and he has problems and stuff. That's good. He doesn't date MJ anymore for some reason. Not like for some reason, but like for his own reasons.
I mean, that's a tricky situation.
I do think that they could have done this reset more gracefully, where it's not like we're just trashing everything and he's a different character now.
Yeah.
And kind of, instead of a magic spell that makes everyone forget him, they like kind of more naturally transition to, I mean, like May is dead. I mean, he still has his rich and powerful friends, I guess. So maybe maybe they've given him so much that it's difficult to piecemeal put him in a more humble place without taking it all away at once.
Yeah, you have to literally rewrite reality to make a kid with money not have money. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to the universe.
I feel like I liked how this went. I think it's better that not everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting for like how the mechanics of it work out. Like these, like the blip where it's like, oh wait, some of this is messy. We're not going to be able to deal with this. Like, are they going to be like, oh wait, this means this, this, and this, and these tie-ons will be tricky and blah blah blah. And I don't know. It feels like with White Vision in WandaVision, where at some point everyone's going to know who he is again. Like magic bullshit or something will happen, but this doesn't feel permanent to me. But a good moment for this movie.
A part of me agrees with you because that's what they do, is they just go back on stuff constantly. But I don't know. This is the movie that killed Aunt May. And, you know, actually made him give up stuff. So I'm like, maybe they actually plan on sticking with this. But as Nando has rightfully pointed out, every single one of these Tom Holland Spider-Man appearances has immediately gone back on whatever they did at the end of the last one. So
that's true.
We'll see.
I could see them just doing what might as well be a completely different trilogy of movies with adult Peter Parker and new people and like just like pretending none of this ever happened. And like I could see Kevin Feige having that script written by someone and then just going like, listen, John Watts and those other two people we already named, you got to make your movie end with him being a different guy. Make him this guy so then we can actually do the good movies. And like, I'm fine with that. I do think one of the problems with this Spider-Man, and not necessarily just the MCU, but there has been a lot of baggage that goes movie to movie. And I think we've cleared a lot of it out, but I can't help but imagine MJ will show up later and it'll be like, who are you? Why is this a thing? Okay, well, this is very confusing, but there were multiple me's and we erased one, and yeah.
I mean, the scene right before, did we mention Tobey Maguire gets stabbed?
Nah,
he gets stabbed.
The movie
but
forgets.
it doesn't matter. So
it doesn't matter, right?
Whatever.
I get stabbed all the time.
Yeah.
I loved the scene between Holland and Zendaya, like where he's explaining, I'm going to forget everything. And she's like, well, you know, don't tell me you love me because, you know, tell me when you see me. I'm not going to forget. If you don't find me, I'll come find you. And like that scene was really, really, really good. And like, yeah, I found it very impactful and emotional. And like that whole like series where it's just like it's not all over for like Peter Parker. Like he still has a life and he gets to be Spider-Man, but everything's different now, right? And it's like really solidified in the donut shop scene where she's with Ned and he gets to see, oh, they got into MIT and like everything's great. They get to be happy, blah, blah, blah. But now I don't have either of them. And like, yeah, man, that shit was great. By the way, Ned could totally become Hobgoblin now because he's not best friends with Peter Parker. So it's totally on the table.
Yeah, I kind of like almost wish that even Peter Parker forgot he was Peter Parker or something. Because I guess then we would have like an MJ that could meet him and like they could start over and they could be like, you know, like star-crossed lovers. Because I feel like what's going to happen is she's going to show up and he's going to there's going to be a whole movie of him like, oh, should I tell her? Should I not tell her? And it's like, I don't care. I don't care about that. Make her more like she is in the comics. Like make her, you know, a cool, confident, not like
model
party girl, but you know, like model.
Club owner.
I don't definitely know about that, but she could be whatever.
Instagram model.
Oh god, yeah, TikTok person.
Star.
Yeah, but like, yeah, do that and then have her show up and then just have a new relationship form or not. I mean, I think they will do it. What happens, by the way, if you're Spider-Man, right? The main one, and you meet a Gwen Stacy, what do you do?
Yeah, it's tricky, right?
That's trouble.
Did he ever say Gwen Stacy? I think he just said Gwen. Oh, maybe a different Gwen.
That's possible.
But Gwen is such an uncommon name. I feel like every Gwen I met from then on would be like, "Wait,
yeah,
are you? Hold on."
Yeah.
I mean, just give her a different name, like with MJ, right? Like, I'm not Gwen Stacy. I'm G. Wen.
Goop Stacy or something. Goop Stoopsy.
Gracie Wendy.
He could have used Tobey Maguire's reassurance of being like, "Oh, I also had a Gwen Stacy. She was fine." You know?
Yeah, I even dropped her, right? And it was okay. Here's all you got to do, Peter Parker. Make sure the producers fucks with the movie enough that the movie forgets about her, and then it's fine. Because I read this originally, she was supposed to be the one that Venom steals in the end of Spider-Man 3, and she was the one that he saves, and it makes so much more sense.
It does.
Oh my god, it's like a completely different movie.
On the one hand, that justifies her presence. On the other hand, why, when he has a love interest already?
Like, I guess in that version of the movie, I could kind of see the MJ thing being over. And, like, it's like, now he's just got to save this innocent person who's not MJ. I guess part of it, too, is just like, there can't be every single movie in his whole trilogy ends with the bad guy stealing his girlfriend and putting her on a death machine or whatever. And then he has to come save her, and everybody sees it. And it's just like, let somebody else be the damsel in distress.
Fucking, right? They fucking?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They upside down kissing?
Yeah. But yeah, so then Peter Parker says goodbye to them, very sad. And then the end. No, because then he goes and then almost says...
He goes to a coffee shop where Zendaya works and, like, definitely makes her think he's on drugs.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, like, so does she remember being saved by Spider-Man all those times?
I guess?
So, like...
everyone remembers Spider-Man.
So do you think she can kind of put it together? Like some kid about the same size as Spider-Man shows up and, like, has a lot of things he might kind of want to say to her, and it's like, I might know Spider-Man.
I don't think you'd go immediately to the way, are you Spider-Man? Like, I don't think you'd go right there.
See, this is the difference between me and everybody in this universe. If there were a secret superhero, everybody I know that even kind of matches their description, I'd be like, I think he's Spider-Man. I'd have a whole corkboard with nothing but theories. What
happens is they have that coffee shop scene, and she was like, that was weird. And then she cracks open Flash Thompson's book, and is like, wait, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That kid is Peter Parker.
Yeah. Oh, man, what about that book? It's poor Flash. And then the end of the movie is that he's the one from the video games now, pretty much. He listens to police scanners and jumps out a window. And he lives in a poor old apartment.
Shitty apartment, yeah.
I was really excited for Mr. Ditkovich to hand him the keys, but he didn't.
I think everyone was.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Got to save something for No Way Home 2. When just Ditkovich and the Rhino show up to... You missed us, didn't you? What'd you think of his new suit? The new suit's pretty good, probably.
It is a good suit, yeah.
Didn't get a great look at it, but like it looks like a plain old Spider-Man suit.
He changed suits so many times in this movie that my eyes started glazing over whenever a Spider-Man suit was on scene, and I could no longer tell the difference.
Yeah. I mean, this is the closest. It looks like, I'd have to see it again, but it seems like the closest they've ever gotten to the on-screen Spider-Man suit. Mm-hmm. Like, Andrew Garfield 2 was pretty close, but this seems like right on the money, which would be cool. Now, there were 2 post-credit scenes.
Yes. So and one of them is fucking bullshit.
I can't tell which one you're talking about.
I honestly can't either. They're both kind of bullshit to me.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the first one that happens.
One of them is a trailer, which whatever, and the other one is fucking bullshit.
Oh, okay. I could see the trailer also being the bullshit one.
Yeah, I agree.
But, okay, so the first one, the bullshit one. Diggins, what is it?
Yeah, what's the bullshit one?
Well, if you fine listeners at home watched Venom, Let There Be Carnage, you recall that movie ended, or its post-credit scene was Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, shows up in the MCU in some villa in Mexico and sees Spider-Man getting revealed and is like, Spider-Man, yeah, I'm into it.
I want to fuck that.
We hate that guy.
So we join him. I guess even though it was the Spider-Man reveal on the news, which happened months ago, he came at the same time as all the others.
Yeah.
So he's only been there for like a day, and he's gotten drunk at a bar in Mexico, having the bartender explain to him that heroes exist in this world.
Yeah.
And we get a little Tom Hardy and Venom banter for a little bit, and then decide we're going to go talk to Spider-Man. And then they get sent back to their own universe, and there's no interaction with Spider-Man, and I'm so mad. I'm really mad about it.
Why are you mad about it?
Because I was promised a bill of goods with that post-credit scene, DJ. And that bill of goods was Tom Hardy being a nasty little freak to Tom Holland. And I will never get that bill of goods now.
I see.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people think that maybe it'll be Spider-Man, like Andrew Garfield will show up in his universe, like, so then they could fight, and he could be a nasty little freak to Andrew Garfield, so that could be fun.
Maybe.
Why would that be Andrew Garfield, though?
Because he's the one that is, because it can't be Tobey Maguire, because he already had a Venom, he already has an Eddie Brock, and if there was a Spider-Man in his universe, it can't be Tom Holland, because we already did that, and like, he got transported to that universe, so could be the Andrew Garfield universe.
Now, there was an implication that they are going to do the symbiote storyline in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, because for some reason, a little bit of Venom gets left behind.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So that's fine.
I mean, the reason is so Venom can be in this universe, Diggins, in case you were
Now, is this going to be the same Venom?
That's a good question.
Like, is it going to be Tom Hardy doing the voice?
Probably not, because in Carnage, right, it's like, if it's separates, it's like a different guy.
Yeah, it'll probably be Tom Holland doing the voice.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think we should eat people. No, we're not eating people. No, we should eat people.
I love your
I am walking here. You cannot do that to me.
I feel like it's weird with him because it's like, I don't know. I feel like we will not see that in the next Spider-Man movie with that. Like, I feel like that might be 2 Spider-Man movies away, if that. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that's the story they want to do now.
Yeah, that was just a little tease.
Yeah.
We're going to get it just like, what was teased at the end of fucking Guardians 2 that we're still waiting on a payoff for?
Adam
Warlock.
Yeah. Which that one we are getting.
Shit.
But
yeah, finally.
Yeah, it was like 7 years later, though. Like, geez.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the second one?
The trailer for Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, yeah, it was a teaser trailer. It's fine, I guess.
They all look like they should in the comics. They did that thing, finally. Mordo looks cool.
There was an evil Doctor Strange, and I was like, I can bear to look at your face because it looks like a human being emoting.
Is it? Do you think it's the same one? Like,
that's what I can't figure out. Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so. I'd like someone posted, like, they all deserve to burn in hell for making Sam Raimi watch What If or something like that. But
Accurate.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like, I mean, we definitely see a little bit of Shumagorath, the big chaos tentacle monster eye guy, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. But I don't know what that movie is. It's got America Chavez. That's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
It's got Elizabeth Olsen, which we all already knew.
Yeah, which apparently people are like going wild for. I saw some videos of this, people reacting to her being in the trailer. There's younger people specifically, it seems like, on TikTok that love her. Like, love Wanda the character. Yeah, like, it's wild.
Because of WandaVision, I have to assume, since that was the first time she really did anything.
I don't know. I mean, I'd assume so as well. But it's weird to me. But
I mean, I liked her a lot in WandaVision.
Yeah, me too. But like, I don't know why. I feel like if you ask like a kid, like a younger, like, I don't know, teenager, like an internet connected TikTok teenager, you're like, who's your favorite character in these movies? I think there's a good chance you get Wanda, which I don't know. It's great because she's fine, but
you know what? It's as good an answer as any at this point.
Yeah. What do you think will be the next one of these we get? Next Spider-Man movie? It doesn't seem like Tom Holland's super keen on doing them anymore.
So I had heard that. So I will say, I think one of the interesting things about this movie is that it provides kind of a soft reset for Spider-Man. Like, everything from Civil War to now was almost like Spider-Man's origin story.
Yeah.
And now he'll, like you said, Nando, he'll just like be Spider-Man. But yeah, it does seem like Tom Holland might not be with it anymore, which, you know, you could recast. You know, they're not giving up Spider-Man. First of all, Sony's got to make a movie every 5 years or whatever. So we're gonna keep getting them. But like in terms of where you go, like I don't know, you gotta pick a new villain, or you do jump straight to Venom. But I don't know, or we do like a New York City team up deal if we're not just doing solo Spider-Man.
I have a guess, and it involves going back to a line we didn't talk about that I forgot I wanted to mention. Mm-hmm. Or rather, I have an idea of what they're not going to do based on this line.
Okay.
Which is, we skipped over, Andrew Garfield has a moment with Electro during the fight. After Electro's been depowered.
That's great.
And Electro's like, man, you know, you're from Queens, you help out poor people, whatever. I always thought you'd be black.
Yep.
And then he looks directly into the camera and he says, maybe somewhere out there is a black Spider-Man, but you're not going to see him in this movie or probably any of these other MCU movies. But we'll talk about him a little bit. You know, that's representation, right?
Yeah.
Little head nod, little head tilt.
Well, it does seem like, so, I mean, like, this isn't, I would say this is consistent with at least the character designs. It seems like Toby was like kind of movie Spider-Man almost in like its own little bubble. But then Tom Holland is 616 Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield is like amazing Spider-Man, like Ultimate Spider-Man.
Just not Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, and that's where that Miles Morales comes from, is, you know, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man would die, and then Miles Morales would take that mantle up. So I could see an Andrew Garfield movie in the future where he deals with Miles Morales. I don't know if they'll do that or if they'll just put Miles Morales in the like 616 universe, or whatever it is. But I think they could get away with that. It wouldn't be bad. But
the problem with doing Miles Morales in the MCU is they stole a lot of the best elements of Miles Morales for Peter Parker in this universe.
Yeah.
But did it as Peter Parker instead of Miles.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you do that's different? But other than that, he's black and Latino.
I guess, like, he could be... Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you have an older Spider-Man, then he can just be younger and... I don't know. It's tough because he hangs out with... What's his name? Like, or he hangs out with, like, the younger kids now. And he's, like, kind of a, like, young Spider-Man while Spider-Man is more of an adult. And that's the distinction in universe. But that wouldn't really make any sense here.
Unless you jump forward in time again.
Yeah. These movies now take place in 2050.
That line to me was just like winking acknowledgement of Miles Morales. That means we will never use him. Never.
Yeah, we gave you your fucking little head nod, wink. That's all you get.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they'll do though. I like. There's very few villains they haven't used in this universe and haven't kind of already used here and X'd out. So, like, Chameleon, maybe?
Alistair Smythe.
Yeah, they didn't talk about him yet. Like,
it was like BJ Novak in The Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, but that information didn't get shared. Like, Rhino could show up here. I kind of mentioned a Rhino suit, but it's different.
If they're willing to lend him out, I mean, Kingpin used to be a big Spider-Man villain.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see what they end up doing with him, and like, I don't think he'll be quite neutered, but I don't think in this episode of Hawkeye he'll be like chopping someone's head off with a car door. But yeah, he could fit in.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they could they couldn't really do Prowler. They could do Prowler, but who cares if it's not Miles Morales?
Yeah, it's more of a Miles Morales thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, because even like Kraven and Morbius, who would be decent Spider-Man villains in a Spider-Man movie, they're getting their own movies, so probably not them. I do think we'll get Black Cat. I think Black Cat will happen. Mr. Negative from the video game, that's a pretty simple character. But then it's just like we're doing the first Spider-Man video game, which, you know.
Which, whatever, fine.
The worst movies you could make.
Oh gosh, what was I going to say? I forget. Well, let's move on.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else about this movie?
No, it was great. I loved it.
It's
That's
pretty
great.
good, and I liked it.
Oh,
Yeah, it
come
was
on,
better
Diggins.
than I thought it would be for sure.
Tempered from earlier.
I never said anything much stronger than I like this movie, which is true. I do like this movie.
I'll take it. I guess I was just so surprised by it.
Mysterio, I want you to cut together an edit of this where Diggins says he loves this movie. It's his favorite
Yeah.
Spider-Man movie.
Please do.
All right,
And
then
then
do you guys
release
want to
it
get to our...
through, send it to Alex Jones to put me on blast across the entire internet.
Yeah. Do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
I'd love to get to
I
our
would
classic
love that.
segment.
All right. You guys want to recommend some things? DJ, got
Yes.
anything to recommend?
Yeah, I wanted to give a recommendation to the new South Park specials that came out, the South Park post-COVID two-parter. It is exclusively on Paramount Plus, so sign up with your burner emails and then cancel, or legitimately sign, or like not legitimately, but sign it up and keep Paramount Plus. I did not. I actually think I did the Black Friday where it was a month, so I didn't have to use like 2 burner emails. I just canceled after the second portion came out. It's really good. Good to see South Park again. Of the specials they did, like the pandemic special and the Vax special, I thought this was my favorite of them, just because I thought this storyline was the funniest. So if you like South Park, it's great. Allegedly, we're just going to be getting like more South Park movies and a new season at some point because they signed like that near $1 billion deal with Paramount Plus. You guys know they bought Casa Bonita in Denver?
I heard about that,
because
yeah.
it was gonna close during in 2020 because COVID, and they fucking bought it.
So good.
Putting that Paramount money to good use. I do wonder if this is a sign of things to come where all the South Park stuff is going to be on Paramount Plus because it's probably something that can get them Paramount Plus subscriptions.
I mean, it certainly makes sense. That feels about right.
So, but we shall see. But would definitely recommend the post-COVID special. I thought it was good, and it takes place in the future, so they have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, give that all the good old recommendation.
Yeah, cool. Diggins, what about you?
I watched a lot of movies this week, so
Oh, my
I'm going
goodness.
to very quickly go over the ones I really liked, and then end on a little bit more on my favorite of the batch. So I watched That Obscure Object of Desire, a movie by Luis Buñuel, which is kind of about it's about a man's tumultuous relationship with a much younger woman across France and Spain. That is kind of about the vagaries of love and lust and how affections can be very capricious. Seven Samurai, the movie by Akira Kurosawa, is of course a great samurai epic, but also a surprisingly thoughtful examination of class in Japan that I really liked. Diabolique is a French thriller from the 50s about a man's wife and his mistress who conspire to kill him because they both hate him so much. That is really good suspense kind of movie, and then also I have to admit got me with the ending that may be the most feel bad ending I've ever seen. Like overall, nowhere near the most depressing or feel bad movie I've ever seen, but the ending, oof.
Let me guess. He kills them both or something?
Nope.
Oh.
I saw a new movie, Licorice Pizza, which is Paul Thomas Anderson's movie about kind of a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old and their strange quasi-relationship in the 70s in L.A. It's really kind of his love letter to growing up in L.A. and his childhood, which it's very shaggy and loose. It's not so much a story as a collection of a bunch of short stories. But I like it. It's funny. It's charming. There's some really great scenes. And there is something sweet about it, even though the central relationship is a little that's weird. So I enjoyed that a lot. But my favorite of these movies was a movie called Red Rocket. This is also a new movie. Have either of you heard of this one?
I have heard of it.
Negative.
I don't really know too much about it. What's the deal?
So it's the new movie by Sean Baker, who did The Florida Project and Tangerine. Florida Project, also featuring Willem Dafoe.
Did he win? He got nominated. Did he win an Oscar for that role?
I don't believe so, no. But Red Rocket is... So Sean Baker tends to make movies about more like working class people on the fringes of poverty. And this one is no different. It is about a former porn star who is going back to his hometown. We're never quite clear on exactly why, but it seems like he was probably run out on a rail by all the people that are just sick of his shit. Because it is quickly apparent that he is like a fast-talking type of guy who loves to ingratiate himself, but he's also fundamentally kind of a con man. And what is great about this, he's going back to his hometown and like re-ingratiating himself with his wife, whom he never actually divorced, and her mother, and like living with them and kind of inserting himself back in their lives. What's great about this movie is it is so good at walking a fine line of getting you to sympathize with him just enough that you can like see him being like charming and charismatic, and you're like, I understand why people are, you know, listening to him, but also like right away showing you that he's fundamentally a very selfish and egotistical and narcissistic, and just has no consideration for others, and just kind of peeling the layers on that back more and more as the film goes on without ever being too obvious about it, where it just becomes more and more clear, like, wow, this guy's never going to improve, is he? It's such a fun movie in the sense of it's very funny and everything, but also like this incredible character study on this guy and getting you to a place where you can understand why people listen to him and why people give him chances and like hope he'll get better, while also very clearly demonstrating that that's never going to happen. And I really enjoyed it. I think if you can happen to catch that, maybe not in a theater, because, you know, this COVID stuff is getting a little dicey again. But maybe when it comes out on VOD, if you want to check out that Red Rocket, you definitely should. Great movie.
Nice.
I'm
gonna recommend, so as far as like things like comics, I haven't been reading a ton this week. I feel like I was reading something, but I don't remember what it was. So it doesn't, I'm not gonna say what it was. I'm gonna look at, I don't know. But I did watch a television show I've been so excited for so long. It's finally out on another streaming service that is fine. Like, it's, you know, good stuff, but this is what I've been waiting for, baby. MacGruber is back in action on Peacock.
Oh, I wanted to know about this.
I mean, if you like the first MacGruber movie, it's just like that. Like, it's, and by first I mean the only, but like it's great. It's so funny. It's so stupid.
Nando, you're talking about the alternate Nandoverse where there were like 50 MacGruber movies that came out every year.
Oh my god, yeah. It would be like, it's a really, really, really funny movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, like it's based on an SNL sketch that was also pretty funny. Like, you know, for SNL, it was nice and short. But the movie itself is a really great action parody kind of thing, and it's just really weird. It's hard to explain. But the new one is a lot of that stuff that was great about that. It's back, and like anybody that liked the movie, watch the show. It's just as good, and it's really funny. And it's on the first episode is on Peacock for free, so you could just go on just like peacock.com or whatever it is and go watch the first one. And I at least I didn't see options to watch other ones. Usually when they do that, it's like episode 2 for you know, to be subscribed, and I didn't see that, so I assume that's the only one out now, so you can watch the first episode, be totally caught up. And yeah, like Lawrence Fishburne is in it, all the older characters are back. It's good. I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised, because I had high hopes. I trust these guys to like make a good thing again, but yeah, definitely a nice little treat. What are we doing next week, fellas?
The Matrix.
Matrix Resurrections.
Should have been Matrix Rebooted, right? Like, that's what it should have been called.
It could have been. I do think
Rebooted isn't enough of Christian teleology as opposed to Resurrections.
That's true. And I think it's just confusing enough that I'll never quite be confident. and I'm saying the right one.
That's true. That's important.
And that's what you want. Yeah, that's what a good movie does.
Well, especially these Matrix movies.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's so weird.
I'm very excited for this one.
Next week's gonna be a really interesting one.
Will we have the total reversal? The movie I thought I would hate, I rather liked. And the movie I thought I was going to love, I'm going to hate.
It's quite possible. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to think of it. I really don't. I
think Diggins is going to like it.
I think he might. Here's the thing. I haven't
I'm
seen
excited
any
about this black box.
I haven't seen any like reviews besides just a couple people. I haven't talked to anybody that saw it because I don't hang around the theater in COVID-y times, although like the screenings are much safer generally. But like I
didn't do that in non-COVID times, and I'm not going to start now.
That's true too. So I have absolutely no idea what people think of this. Like, and I think it's going to be super divisive. I'm excited. We'll find out. So that'll be next week. Week after that, maybe Kingsman, probably Kingsman.
Yeah.
Assuming I think the theaters don't all close or whatever.
I mean,
if they do,
just because
probably
this is a podcast with you, Nando, we have to cover a Kingsman movie.
I know. I'm really excited for it. I've heard some pretty good reviews, but
can't be worse than Kingsman 2.
Exactly. We'll figure that out next week, or we'll solidify it. But this week, definitely Matrix, because that is on Warner Brothers as well as HBO Max as well as in theaters, which is terrific.
Do I have to go to the theater to see it, Nando?
No.
Nice.
I mean, in a non-COVID time, I would be like, I don't know, you'll probably like it. It's probably a better theater experience than not. But in any, if there's any reason not to go at all, then yeah, it's probably fine. I'm trying to think, here's the thing. There's some big stuff in there, but there's also a lot of, it's not it's definitely not like this where people will be clapping and cheering. There were a lot of snickers. I would say that's most of what happened. Well, yeah, a guy would come on screen or someone would say something, everybody would go, oh, yeah, that's from this one. But I wouldn't say it's like any other Wachowski movie, like, say, Speed Racer, where it's, so big and bright and exciting and crazy. Right. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see how you feel.
Yeah.
And then, we'll decide about next week. We'll be sure of that probably the week after that, once we do next week. So, either way, you guys, anything to plug, DJ?
So same stuff, roses and rejections. This week we are covering the end of Michelle's journey as she finds her true love. By the way, Roger
thought you guys were
Twitter,
already married.
And the journey's over. Well, it was a quick one, Hopefully she finds true love this next time, huh?
Yeah.
The journey is over.
Ring, unfortunately. Did you guys see on Twitter, Roger was pointing out I was way off on the ring estimations?
They're so expensive.
They go for almost 6 figures. It's fucking crazy.
It's insane.
Does that change your calculus for whether or not it's worth it?
Yes, it is worth it.
Yeah. Is that the kind of ring is that the kind of ring you got your wife, DJ?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Obviously. The ring is not an indicator of love, Diggins. Come on, no, don't be silly.
It sounds like something that someone who bought a bad ring would say.
Cubic zirconium.
Nice.
But we'll be covering the finale on that, and then the week after we'll be doing our 2021 year in review. By the way, boys, we got to do our year in review / look forward episode at some point.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
honestly, that could be what bumps Kingsman.
Yeah. I mean,
Matrix,
whatever.
and then year in review, depending on how we're feeling about going to theaters.
Yeah. And so we're doing our year in review on just basically reality television year in review, bunch of stuff to cover. So, that's what we'll be covering on the Pop Break TV feed. So check that out.
Cool. Diggins, what about you?
Sure. I have my usuals, my newsletter, A Little Perspective, that's substack.com. I'll probably do another top 10 movies when the end of the year rolls around. So that'll be releasing soon.
Oh,
I say, having not written it, and also probably not having seen some movies that might show up on it. But I also stream at twitch.tv/thisisanodname. I've started streaming Resident Evil Village with my friend Bridget. If you saw our Deltarune streams, you've met them. I'm doing more of that. This podcast will probably not be out before then, but I'm doing some Tuesday, December 21st. at 7 p.m. And, follow my Twitter feed for more about when I'm doing streams, because I often don't announce it until not that long before them.
I was going to say, Dickens, do you post the recordings, like the VODs, so people could just go to your Twitch channel and watch them after the fact?
I mean, they only stay for 2 weeks, but yeah, they are up on my channel for 2 weeks after airing. Then you can watch them if you want.
So at least there's that.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a video I put out last week about actors you could cast Keanu Reeves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for. That was fun. I got some good answers, and you know what else I did? I did a thing where I what was I gonna say? I had a comment where I was like, comment who you think it is before the video and afterwards if I've convinced you of anybody or you have any other good ideas. And I've been reading a lot of the comments. I feel like most people are on the same page about a lot of these things. He should probably be Ghost Rider. I think that's the one I hear from most people.
Well,
there are
because
others
his name is Johnny. So.
Exactly. It's a big part of it. And he played a motorcycle stunt rider in that one movie, Toy Story 4. It's perfect.
I heard he did his own stunts in Toy Story 4 too.
I think that's true. He definitely got he got beaten up by a big old giant cat, I guess it would have to be a lion or something. Just batted him around for a couple of days to prepare for the role. Remember the cats in that movie? Those were terrific.
Oh my god, the CGI cats in that movie were
they were so good. So yeah, did that video, put down a Matrix review, a little thing, on my channel probably this week. Probably tomorrow or Wednesday. It's pretty soon. And then I'm going to do another video about Matrix, because this one, I just having seen the movie, I can't stop thinking about it. The Matrix movie does one thing so badly that I have to talk about it.
And it'll be my favorite thing about the movie.
I guarantee, Diggins, you're going to hate it. It will be. You will leave the movie. I don't know how you'll leave the movie, but I think you'll figure out where I'm going with this more than you'll maybe a third of the way through the movie. You'll know what I mean. And it's wow, really? The Matrix? That's what you're doing in a Matrix movie? That is so wild. That's the other thing. I'm really curious to see when other people see this movie, if they all have that thought too, because I do think that could be a big thought that comes out of this movie. That's just man, what an interesting decision to make. But yeah, we will see.
I'm so curious now. So was that Wednesday?
Yeah, if you watch the trailer and kind of infer a couple things, I think you can maybe see it. But it's much more pronounced once you've seen the movie, and it's just that is a terror. And there's details within the movie that are wow, you did that, and then you also did that. It's wild. So, yeah, when you guys, I'm gonna try to put that video out pretty soon because I want to make it before everybody else makes theirs. But also, I want to see what people think about it because it's fascinating to me. So, anyway, that'll be on my YouTube channel. That's all I got though.
Nice.
Yeah. So until next week, and I think until post holidays. So
yeah, it'll be after Christmas, the next episode for sure.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody and stuff. Until then, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo. Woohoo. Bye. We love you.